All right, y'all. This is He Knows Everything, bringing you that heat and that far. Got my boy Tom Ross TV in the building. Tom Ross, what's up, man?
What's up, man? You know, it's Tom Ross TV, separating the weak from the strong. Back with He Knows, and this is going to be a dandy. So stay tuned.
That's what's up. Now let's get on to it, man. Now we may have difference of opinions on it, but at the same time, we may have a lot of opinions that are on the same wavelength. But Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, I really want to talk about this because to me, Tyson Fury in the third fight, in the second half of the fight, as I was telling you previously, this man was patient. He actually exuded and showed patience that I haven't seen since, when you watch Muhammad Ali in the rope-a-dope, right? Muhammad Ali, he employed it because he lost his legs, obviously, but at the same time, it was a strategy to tire out his opponents and to get his opponents in a position where they would be tired themselves and he would have just a little bit more strength in them so he can get the shots he wants to get off and get them to miss more. And in the rope-a-dope, if he can hold them and basically keep them from getting their punches off, he could get his punches off. If you look at the fight, Tyson Fury did that. In moments where Tyson Fury needed to hold, he held Deontay Wilder. In moments where he needed to basically lean on Deontay Wilder, he leaned on him. He used his weight advantage over him because it was, 270 something to 230 something. Even though Wilder was his heaviest, that's still damn near almost 50 pounds more than the other man. That takes a toll on you in a 12-round fight. The bottom line that I saw in that fight, in that third fight, and the reason why Wilder mites, as I call them, the LDBC, all of these people that are running with Deontay Wilder and Timegate now, come on, man. That's foolish. That's nonsense. In this third fight, if you look at the 11th round and you look at the knockout, that was a technically placed punch. In boxing, everyone knows what technically placed punch is. Salute to you, Sade Logan. And you can't argue that. That's just like Barry Bonds. You remember with Balco, they tried to argue that steroids gave him an enhancement and that steroids was the reason why he was able to perform. Barry Bonds was already giving you a high batting percentage.
Right.
He already had unique and rare hand-eye coordination. Hand-eye coordination, steroids can't basically enhance that. That's a skill set. If you know anything about baseball, you know that. So in boxing, when somebody throws a technically placed punch, you cannot basically make that something that you take as a figment as your imagination that they was cheating. They both had horsehair gloves. In the background of Tyson Fury in the gym, in the locker room, kind of like in the second fight, they didn't turn off the cameras. They didn't basically go on a blackout. Both of them had horsehair gloves. And Deontay Wilder, from the beginning of the fight, basically used what we would call sense of urgency to show that whatever new training that he did helped. But to me, it was bullshit and fuck shit. You guys know how I feel about Malik Scott. You don't bring in somebody that you knocked out. That was stupid. That's somebody that's inferior to you. You're not going to listen to that person. If you look at what Malik Scott brought to the table with Deontay Wilder, that is nothing special. To what? Be more assertive, to have more sense of urgency. Anybody could have told him that shit because of the outcome of the second fight. What have made Deontay Wilder even more crispier, because now Tom Ross could allude to that, as I was saying it in my life, is Floyd Mayweather. He was using Solarplex. That's why I was laughing. Why didn't you just get with Floyd? You know how many Solarplex shots he was throwing at Tyson Fury? I was like, he's throwing the most obvious, borderline bullshit Solarplex shots I've ever seen. If he would have got with Floyd, those things would have been crispier than the three-piece. Come on, man. And the bottom line, and this is what makes me laugh about it, Ross, is the bigger picture is, salute to you, Jay Cooley. He said, where have y'all been? Where the hell have y'all been? We've been here, bro. We back doing our thing. Exactly. The bottom line is with Deontay Wilder and Malik Scott is a guy that you knocked out. How was he going to be a person that was going to train you? See, these agendas are all agendas that the LDBC has pushed to try to propagate people's minds into them thinking from a boxing standpoint that this was going to be something that was going to be beneficial for Deontay Wilder. All Deontay Wilder had to do was seek out Heyman's advisement, seek out Floyd. And if you have a problem with Floyd Mayweather, there's a guy by the name in Dallas, Texas, in DeSoto of Derrick James. That's a great substitution to use. That would have kept you away from the whole Floyd dichotomy. But at the same time, Derrick James will work the shit out of your ass. And if you didn't want to deal with Derrick James, there's Ronnie Shields. You see what Anthony Joshua did? He bent the proverbial fucking knee, kissed the ring while he's at it, basically realized that the UK across the pond is bullshit and fuck shit, and brought his ass over to America like I told you guys. And now he has an American trainer in freaking Ronnie Shields. He's smart enough to realize that. This is what Deontay Wilder should have done. Get smart and realize that the team that's around you, the team that's surrounding you, the team that is there for you is not in your benefactor. All he has is nothing but leeches around him. You know what Deontay Wilder remind me of? He remind me of MC Hammer. That's why MC Hammer went broke. MC Hammer had nothing but leeches around him. And that's what Deontay Wilder has, leeches. His entourage, go look at them. You could tell they're leeching him financially. Telly Swift, come on, man. Deontay Wilder, you could do better. You're Deontay Wilder. Now, I know this is something Ross could agree with. When you command the level of stature that Deontay Wilder commands, the level of presence, the level of money, you go get reality TV chick that's been ran fucking through time and time and time again. I mean, you can do better. Look at Uncle Luke. Uncle Luke got with a black woman that is a lawyer, Tom Ross. We know Uncle Luke from Miami. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He got one smart person that could manage his finances. Yeah. That could manage his affairs. My issue with Deontay Wilder is your team around you. Floyd always talks about this. He always says in the beginning when he talks, I have a great team around me. There's a reason why Floyd always say that, because when you have a great team around you, it's going to make you great. But when you have a bad team around you, it's going to make you bad. You are a product of your environment. And first and foremost, if you're Deontay Wilder and you're pushing the black agenda, you're pushing that I'm pro-black, I'm about my people, why the fuck do you have a Filipino woman in your arms? She's not black. She's blackified herself because she went to reality fucking TV, but she's Filipino. You're the one pushing that agenda. No one's pushing it. I'm not telling people who they can and fucking can't be with. But my picture is this. This is the agenda you push. You basically say you about your people, you about the culture. And when people say they are pushing these types of social justice movements, civil rights movements, everything has to be linear, even with the person that you're with. That's just the way the shit rolls. Was Malcolm X not with a black woman? Was he with a white woman? Was he with? I'm just saying, everything has to be linear, even with the person that you with. Now, people don't want to agree with that. You know, you should have the right. Then don't leave that shit alone. You shouldn't even be dealing with that. Because if that's what you're gonna do, then get out of that realm. No, nobody needs you in that realm. So not only that, and her crocodile tears, you saw that shit, those two fights, right? She was sitting there crying in the stands with Deontay Wilder. Where's the cries the next day? That check came in. Ross know what I'm talking about. This is alpha male conversation right here. That check came in the next day. She's chilling. She's like, hey, there's a fat fucking check. We get to go. I don't care what happens after that. I'm gonna tell you right now, when Deontay Wilder stopped commanding those level of fights, that ass gonna be gone. Quick, fast, in a hurry, like fucking UPS. Girls like that have what's called an expensive fucking taste. And if you can't keep giving them the expensive taste like the way Deontay Wilder's been doing in beta male fashion, she gonna be gone. Now, let's talk about the other element, the LDBC. If you notice and you add the 2 and 2 together, since Deontay Wilder has lined himself up with the LDBC, he has suffered 2 losses. I want y'all to look at the timeline. Look at the timeline when this man has been getting advisement from these people. We end up having a pay to lose via Glovegate. Look at the advisement when he was getting from these people. He gets knocked out by Tyson Fury in the third fight. And then all of a sudden, 4 days later, he comes and says, and this is going to make you laugh, Ross, because all he had to do was listen to me or he listened to you, he would have been good. Oh, I had an epiphany that God was trying to teach me a lesson. I had an epiphany that an old man told me that, you must lose in order for you to gain. Listen, Wilder is delayed, man. He's missing a fucking few screws up here. I've come to that conclusion a long time ago. And he's a good guy. He's passionate. But see, the LDBC, what they've done is they realize that Deontay Wilder is not too bright up here, but they realize he has passion and they got to push an agenda. So they were able to use and fucking abuse him to push their fucking agenda. They can't do that with Floyd. That's why they talk shit about Floyd. They can't do that with Earl Spence. That's why they talk shit about Earl Spence. If you notice, they low-key take their digs. They want to kiss Bud's ass. I don't know why, because Bud ain't stunting them, but they always want to kiss Bud's ass, low-key. They always got some shit to say about the Charlos. They always got some shit to say about Gervonta Tank Davis. These are facts, because these fighters are not dumb enough. They've realized a long time ago, you bend the knee to Al, you stick up on the Al, because Al is going to gear you into the right path. Look at Spence, still undefeated, right? Look at Gervonta Tank Davis, still undefeated, right? Look at Jamal Charlo, still undefeated. Look at Jamel Charlo, lineal. You see, when you fall up on the Al Heyman, you listen to Al Heyman, you bend the knee to Al Heyman, what happens? You in good ground. You on solid foundation. But when you go against the grain, like Deontay Wilder did, look at what Deontay Wilder's found him. This last thing that I'm going to say here, because I'm going to leave it on this note, because that's going to give Ross the juice, is this. You let a cracky white crackhead that you got out of the fucking UK slums come in and embarrass your ass twice. Now, if that's not something for you to go sit there and put your head in the fucking toilet, then I don't know what is. Deontay Wilder, I'm not saying that your career is over, but at the highest levels, you're mentally fractured, you're mentally done, and when you fight fights at that level like that, it takes a fucking toll on you. That's all I gotta say, bro.
My comments on Deontay Wilder are going to be two-tone. I'm going to work myself backwards. So, I do agree with Andre Ward that there was a long count. Now, and I made videos saying I agree that there was a long count. Now, with that being said, I do know everything you want to happen in a fight don't necessarily happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They tried to cheat Floyd several times in fights. Maidana, they tried to cheat him several times. They tried to cheat him in the Ortiz fight where they was letting him get headbutted several times. But when you get the right foundation and the right people around you, there's only so much that can be done. Because he did not have the right people around him. He was not able to avoid those pitfalls. Pitfalls are twofold. They're of his doing and they're systematic. Because if you look at those gloves are not supposed to be worn in a fight. Granted, they both was able to wear bad gloves. But we all know bad gloves side with the people with the stronger hands. You know what I mean? Like, if they let Marcus Maidana wear those gloves, that he won't, ain't no telling what the Floyd fight look like. Because he's basically hitting him with hard-ass, bare hands. You know what I'm saying? But Floyd, because Floyd has a foundation that Floyd is winning before the fight, during the fight, and he get a bigger after the fight.
Yep.
Deontay Wilder needs to change up his circle. And he needs to do it fast.
Yep.
I'm not alleviating him of responsibility for losing that fight. I do think if you would have won by knockout, then he would have won. I would have said, he would have won. They would have said the fight was over because it was a long count, but he didn't get that long count. So I'm not alleviating him because the punches he was getting hit with, all he has to do is put the high guard up. He was hitting him in the ear over and over and over again. It's no secret. He's not doing anything special. He's jabbing, He's leaning on him so he can hit him in the ear, and he's hitting him in the ear and behind the head. He's not doing anything special. It's just that Deontay Wilder knows how to fight. He doesn't know how to box.
Yep.
You don't know if you can't do anything else, then you got to protect your zones. If you can't do nothing else, and he's steady leaning on you, holding you, you can't do nothing but protect your zones until they separate the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
He doesn't know how to clinch. There's a lot of things he could do better. So when I dropped my video, I was exposing the fact that Fury does get a privilege of long counts whenever he fights, and that's just the truth. But I'm not disputing the fact that after they let them go, the fight was then lost. Because there was a point where Deontay Wilder was winning that fight.
Yep.
Then he lost it by not knowing how to clinch, because he's supposed to initiate the clinch.
Yep.
He's stronger than you. You initiate the clinch, you hold his arms, and they break it up. Floyd always initiates. If you get too close to Floyd and you're stronger than him, he initiates it because he don't know what you're going to do if you initiate.
Yep.
Two things Floyd does. If you fight wild, like Pacquiao, he initiates it because you're using your head. Or if you're bigger than him, he initiates the clinch, break it up, go to the middle of the ring. In the middle of the ring, Deontay Wilder was actually the better fighter in the middle of that ring. It wasn't until Tyson Fury got him on the edges against the ropes.
Yep.
That being said, that's my points with that. I'm not trying to be on the middle of the fence. I just see it. Whereas I can see why Deontay Wilder could have won that fight, and I can, because I don't like Fury. I don't like what he stands for. But I can also see where Deontay Wilder lost the fight and Fury took advantage.
Yep.
At the end of the day, if you're a black man, you got to be prepared for things not to go your way in the ring.
Exactly.
But you got to prepare on the outside, because a lot of those things could have been fixed before the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think Deontay Wilder's going to come back and he's going to come back and he's going to have some success, but not before he cleans some of the things up. And the biggest things is the people who's advising him.
Yep.
Because a lot of people watch boxing now, but they don't know boxing history. They basically reset boxing history, and Deontay Wilder is pretty much our Joe Louis. And when Joe Louis started boxing, y'all don't know, they made Joe Louis sign a contract saying that he would not be like Jack Johnson. He would not be flamboyant like Jack Johnson. He won't deal with no white woman. He won't even look at white women. He would be the opposite. And now there's nothing in Deontay Wilder's actual contract saying he can't be like Floyd, but there's a social contract with a lot of these black fighters to try to be the opposite of Floyd.
Okay.
You got Terrence Crawford. You got Deontay Wilder. You got some of these guys who try to distance themselves from Floyd. They don't convince these fighters that being like Floyd is a bad thing. So Floyd reached out to help him. They say, "Nah, I don't need your help." Who are you to say you don't need Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s help? And
facts.
And this is everybody.
Yep.
Who Floyd has reached out to, and they have said, "Nah." Who are you to say you don't need Floyd Mayweather's help, but you need Malik Scott's help?
Woo.
And Malik Scott is a little sharper, but if he could sit and he could watch some boxing videos and pick up the shit that Malik Scott was teaching him. I learned how to throw the right hand correctly from watching Muhammad Ali over and over again, because that he perfected the right hand, the straight right hand. That's how I learned how to throw the right hand. My boxing coach couldn't even teach me because I was loading up too much. You let it go. You just let it go from the shoulder. You don't load up. I learned how to throw the right hand from watching Muhammad Ali throw the right hand. He don't load up the right hand. He throws it and he gets it back. So a lot of shit that he learned from Malik Scott, he could have taught himself, but I think Deontay Wilder is trying to please everybody.
Yep.
He don't understand the history of boxing. No matter what he does, he will never please the white fan base.
Yep.
He's trying to please everybody.
Yep.
If you got rid of Breland, which I don't know what's going on between him and Breland, then you got to get rid of Jay Diaz, because Jay Diaz was implicit as well.
That's true.
They both let you go in there underarmed.
Yep.
Because they could have both of them could have taught you things but they were afraid of you. Afraid you was gonna have an attitude. Yo, you walked away from a fighter that's like that. They both deserve you to get fired for allowing you to go in there and not even know how to clinch.
Yep.
Not just Breland, but you don't want to piss off white folks. So you keep JDS.
Yep.
Then you bring in Malik Scott because truth be told, you know that it's only so much you can listen to Malik Scott because you knocked him out.
Facts.
That's the problem that I have with Deontay Wilder because I actually love Deontay Wilder. I like people like that to succeed. But he won't be able to succeed at the level he wants if we don't clean up his circle.
Yep.
It is what it is because truth be told, I've seen lesser boxers than Deontay Wilder have more success.
Yep.
But George Foreman in the beginning of his career wasn't even that good at boxing, man.
Facts.
He was stronger than everybody. He didn't get
Facts.
called until he became 40 years old.
Yep.
And he came back actually boxing. He would just start. He didn't even throw the right hand. He clubbed with the right hand like he was a bear.
Yep.
And he had more success because he had a better team around him, man. And thing is, that's why I'm glad I never worship the people I like. I can hold them accountable, tell them what they need to hear, and still root for them. The next Deontay Wilder fight, I'm still gonna be rooting for him. I'm still gonna be rooting for him. I want to see him succeed. But at this point, the way he's going, he's a detriment to himself. Because he don't know how to separate ego. He don't know how to separate. He don't know how to separate ego, and a lot of guys need to take psychological classes because they don't understand how to separate what it is that make them successful from the part of the ego that is your detriment.
That's true.
The intuition part of your ego is not always right, but it always tells you what to do to be safe.
That's true.
Be safe. Your intuition is going to tell you what to do to be safe. Your intuition always going to be like, nah, don't fall in love with her. That's the safe thing to do. Never ever fall in love is a safe thing to do. But you'll never ever really live life. Right? You never
That's true.
Think about it. You always follow your intuition, you never gamble, you never fall in love, you never take no chance. So you just a plain Jane person. You never got hurt, but you never lived life fully.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it got to be a balance of that super confidence and that intuition to keep you balanced, to keep you safe, and let you take just the right chances. You don't want to bring a Floyd Mayweather into your circle because you know shit Floyd gonna have you doing you never done before. You have to learn it. You gonna be embarrassed, but that's fine. It's okay to be embarrassed in front of Floyd because Floyd look at it like nobody really knows as much as I know, so I'm not really looking down at you. I'm just teaching you. He's not even gonna make fun of you because you don't know how to do the bag. He's just gonna teach you how to do it. But you don't want to be embarrassed in private, so you rather be embarrassed in public. It's embarrassing. Granted, even though Tyson Fury do have skills, but a lot of the skills is embedded in like Batman. He has a lot of tricks up his fucking sleeve. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Mano Imano, Superman, the naturally gifted motherfuckers will squish Batman like literally press down on his head. But Fury, like Batman, got a lot of tricks up his sleeves. He got little special gloves. He know where to hit you at. That's kind of borderline illegal, but the ref can't really see it because the ref on the other side. He got a lot of tricks, and if you don't get some tricks about you, you're gonna lose to Batman every time. That's the reason why Batman struggled with Joker. Joker's the king of the tricks. You know what I'm saying? That's all. He got his tricks. He can't even fight.
Exactly.
All he got is tricks and mind games. So if you don't know how to do no mind games, you don't learn no tricks of your own, sadly, he would never beat Tyson Fury. If you don't learn some tricks. You try to fight clean. Deontay Wilder still trying to fight clean. You see how he was fighting? Why you not hitting him in the temple? Why you ain't hitting him in the back of his head? Why you not hitting him in the ear like he hit you?
Exactly.
He's trying to fight like you in the Olympics. No, boxing is a war. If they get dirty with you, you gotta be dirty with them. If he hits Tyson Fury in his ear, Tyson Fury will never recover.
Facts.
Equilibrium. And nobody hit harder than Deontay Wilder. But he still fight clean with somebody who's dirty. Tyson,
That's interesting you said that.
Deontay Wilder, if you listening to this, or somebody in your circle, get with Floyd, man. Because Floyd is a clean fighter that's willing to get dirty if you get dirty with him. Because he realized nobody gonna protect you. Nobody gonna protect you. You only have your own self when you get in that ring. I laced them up.
Yep.
I've been elbowed. I've been punched in the testicles repeatedly. And good thing I was a little kid and my shit didn't really drop right. You know what I'm saying? Anything is the shit that's not legal is actually legal in the boxing ring if the ref either get paid not to see it or they don't see it.
Exactly.
Because nobody cares if you was cheating. Nobody cares 10 years ago if they bring up, well, Tyson Fury had these gloves that look like they came out of an oven. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares. All they know is you got a L on your record.
Exactly.
So you know your hands ain't the strongest Tyson Fury's, so you have to be willing to do the other things, the pre-work, to get the Leonard Ellerbys in there to make sure they can't wear these gloves.
Yep.
Yeah, Tyson Fury was knocking out nobody until he wore those gloves.
Yep.
Let's be honest, man. He was knocking out no top fighters until he started wearing those gloves.
Facts. That's facts.
You sat there and you allowed them to wear those gloves.
Yep. Great point.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. said no fight because he knows they're gonna make the fight. They're just gonna be mad. Floyd Mayweather Jr. told you, ain't no fight. And we told you, calm down, go to your hotel room, I got this. And next thing you know, Tyson Fury would have to wear regular gloves like everybody else.
Yep.
But instead, you folded to the pressure. You would have got some horsehair gloves, knowing your fist ain't strong like that.
Yep.
Because everybody don't have the same heavy hands. They don't. Some people naturally have heavy hands. They can't even fight, but when they hit you, they can hurt you because they naturally have heavy hands. Like you get hit with bricks. Everybody don't have them hands, man. So you can't wear horsehair gloves. Tyson Fury can. He said he prepared for it. He dips his hand in oil and he calcifies his knuckles. He's prepared to fight like that. That was an advantage. But you don't have nobody in your circle that can tell you, like, oh, we can't let this fight. If he wears those gloves, there's no fight. Yep. You think that you think with your brittle hands, you even up the score, you go get you some horsehair gloves. No, because your hands gonna break in round 3-4. That's what Maidana knew. That's what Maidana knew as well. That's why he was like, no, Floyd, you could go get the same gloves. But Floyd was smart, like, no, I got bad hands. I can't wear the same gloves as you.
Yep.
No. Last time I checked, the last fight you had without me, it flopped. Last fight Tyson Fury had without Deontay Wilder flopped. Both of them.
Yep.
3,000 people in the stands. Deontay Wilder really is bigger than Tyson Fury in boxing. He don't know that, or people not telling him that. He could have said no fight.
Exactly.
He could have said no fight, and they would have had to change the gloves because they're not losing out all that money. But he don't know his power. Why? Because he thinks if I come in here and I'm the opposite of Floyd and I say all this black power shit, I'm a black power myself. Don't get it twisted. But you have to know business. You got to be able to know what's business and what's not. If I say all this black power shit, the people gonna love me, and it work. The people do love me, but the people who watch boxing don't understand boxing.
Yep.
Floyd Mayweather do, and you did yourself a good service by at least not having them negotiate your fight.
Exactly.
If you don't want him to teach him nothing because you can't stand to be around him because he's arrogant, he acts like his father. His father is annoying sometimes because he's so arrogant. That's fine, but the least you could do is have him negotiate your fight because you would have never lost before the fight began. When I saw those gloves, I said, you know what? This fight over with. I said, a lot of them knockabout was over with because I know that Tyson Fury fight bare knuckle.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to make no excuses for Deontay Wilder. I'm just saying the fight is a lot better if he had the right people negotiating that fight for him, and he cleans up some of the fundamentals. It's a lot better fight. But the fact that he can push a Tyson Fury like that, who's been fighting all his life, but much of the shit that he don't know, that's what Deontay Wilder is, a special talent that makes horrible decisions.
Facts. It's interesting you said all of that because two things that I took from it and then we're gonna segue into the next topic is the intuition part. Intuition is a woman's thing. That's why they say women's intuition. And the reason
Right.
why they say that is because women always want to be in a safe position. They always want to be safe.
Always want to be safe.
Always want to be safe. They never want to be in an unsafe situation. They don't never want to be in no unsafe climate. But men don't have intuition because we're the ones that are supposed to be the leaders, the drivers, the risk takers, the
That's a
daring
risk.
individuals, the ones to really push over. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant don't they when from a basketball standpoint, they don't understand what intuition is, especially when they're in clutch mode. There is no
Not
intuition.
sure. They have
There's just nothing but
intuition.
risk.
They have intuition when they're making business decisions,
Exactly.
not living life, not taking chances. Yeah.
Exactly. This is the same thing with boxing. Deontay Wilder should have not tried to do the safe thing in the fight. And see, he's programmed to do the safe thing. Malik Scott, after one fight, this guy was all about basically fame to claim. He got on a mic and he was talking on the mic more than Deontay Wilder. Motherfucker, at least win the fight. What you running your rabbit ass mouth for? At least win the fucking fight. I mean, come on. Win the fucking fight. He couldn't even fucking do that. But he was running his rabbit ass mouth. Salute to you, EJ88. This was the issue that I had with Malik Scott. He was just not the right fit. Now, like Tom Ross TV said, if you're not going to deal with Floyd, at least have them deal with the financial aspect. And what this is what trips me out. And this is what the LDBC is not telling people. Floyd is a owner of PBC. Al Heyman has given him stakes. So that's why it's counterproductive to go against Floyd Mayweather. Not only is Al Heyman set up Floyd for 7-figure checks for the rest of his life, that's why you hear when Floyd talks and Floyd says out of his mouth, you know, our fighters, go listen to them when they start talking about PBC fights. Our fighters, this is going to be a big fight. Leonard Ellaby, these motherfuckers got stakes in PBC. They are owners. So why are you guys being counterproductive to go against your own people? Do you guys not understand that PBC is the pristine forefathership of PBC? The success of PBC is because of Floyd Mayweather's successful career. If Floyd did not have the career that he had and Al Heyman didn't run it the way that he ran it, Wilder wouldn't fucking exist. Wilder's existence is because of Floyd. Wilder's commanding of money is because of Floyd. Earl the True Spitz understood it. That's why Earl the True Spitz is always constantly bending the fucking knee to Floyd and under fucking advisement. Gervonta Tank Davis bending the fucking knee, always under advisement of Floyd. Mm-hmm. The Charlo brothers, go look at when the Charlo brothers was doing the fight at the strip club. Who showed up? Floyd Mayweather. Who raised their hands? Floyd. These guys are always seeking out Floyd because they understand this is the pristine forefather. I'm trying to get to that level. Exactly. I'm trying to obtain that ability. I'm trying to obtain that stature. I'm trying to do what this motherfucker was able to do. But in order for that to happen, there's bending of fucking knees that have to happen. You got to bend the fucking knee to somebody that's superior to you. And I'm not talking about a grown-ass man literally bending their knee like they're worshiping God. I'm talking about humbling yourself. Right. This is figure of speech. We're not being literal here. It's figurative speech. When somebody's a master of their sport, they are a master virtuoso like Floyd was. Command the money that Floyd has been able to command. You bend the fucking knee. Devin Haney's next. Devin Haney is fucking next. I've been telling you motherfuckers this shit. A prophet is not honored in his own home. But those whom they've rejected became the chief cornerstone. EJ88. They've been rejecting. He knows everything's prophet. They've been rejecting it, but every time they keep rejecting, he becomes the chief cornerstone. He warned y'all about Wilder, but y'all wouldn't listen. Y'all didn't have an ear to hear. Now he's warning you about Devin Haney. We're gonna Hulk Hogan this thing. Y'all don't have an ear to hear. Devin Haney has a choppy overhand right. He has not been looking crispier than a three-piece. And don't give me that Mickey Bay bullshit. Mickey Bay ain't Floyd. Mickey Bay is lost. He is not Floyd Mayweather. He is not the legend that is Floyd. Devin Haney wants to take his career to the next level. Devin Haney wants to unlock full potential. Bend the fucking knee. That's it. It's really fucking simple. With me, I use extreme terminologies, but that's me. Bend the fucking knee. It's simple. Look at Javante Tank Davis. He bend the fucking knee. He's box office. He's collecting 7-figure checks. There's no other 135-pounder and 140-pounder that's collecting the type of money that Javante Tank Davis is collecting. That's as box office as him and is a pay-per-view star. Don't tell me Teofimo Lopez. These motherfuckers got all these belts. But ain't nobody checking him for pay-per-view. That's why both of his. If I go there, I'm gonna clown this motherfucker. That's why both of his last 2 fights with George Kambosos Jr. have basically been canceled. They're not telling you the truth. He can't sell a chicken dinner, let alone a fucking cookout. Ryan Garcia told you motherfuckers that Javante Tank Davis is box office. He's the most popular guy. And Bill Haney said something the other day. I was thoroughly impressed. I was thoroughly enthused by what he said. He said Javante Tank Davis, Tom Ross, is the most dangerous guy. I was impressed the motherfucker said that. Because if you didn't say that, you'd be fucking lying out your teeth.
Right, that's obvious.
It's fucking obvious. Gary Russell Jr., black boxing community fan bases, they run away from this. You know they blackballed Gary Russell Jr.? They was right there dick riding Gary Russell Jr. And then once Gary Russell Jr. had the whole Devin Haney, Bill Haney, because you know they getting interviews. You know they got, as long as they getting interviews from a motherfucker, they gonna blackball the motherfucker. But this is the irony in it. You also getting interviews from Gary Russell Jr. I didn't understand that dichotomy. But they blackballed Gary Russell Jr. because Gary Russell Jr. was gonna expose Devin Haney. Devin Haney was gonna get beat up. You go look at the Jorge Linares fight. Take Linares' punch out of the equation. Put Tank's punch in the equation. Come on, man. I don't need to tell you. He got dropped by Linares. Let that be a fucking Tank punch.
Right.
And we already know how the outcome is going to be. Yeah. The motherfucker would be put to sleep. He'd be knocked the fuck out. So stop comparing these fighters to Javante Tank Davis. Now we're going to get back to the point, and then we're going to jump into the next topic. The bottom line is Floyd has been able to take Javante Tank Davis, and now people are laughing. They're saying, but he's fighting Raleigh Polly. Raleigh Polly's been calling out Javante. This is like a Mikey Garcia type of situation. Raleigh fucking Polly's been calling his ass out. They're in the same fucking stable. And while these 135 to 140 pounds try to figure out who's going to fucking fight who, and I told you guys that Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney was just nothing but capping shit. And look at it. It was capping. 2 cappers. The biggest cappers in fucking boxing. While they trying to figure this shit out, Javante Tank Davis like, I need to stay busy fight. But this motherfucker's calling me out. So why not knock his fucking head out? Why don't I Mikey Garcia his ass real fucking quick, and then I can focus on the next fight after that. So you can't fault Javante Tank Davis because you fight fans said Javante Tank Davis needs to stay busy. Did they not say that, Tom Ross? They said he needs to stay in shape. That's what he's been fucking doing. Have you guys seen him at the presser for the fight? That motherfucker's lean as hell.
He knows. This is my question.
Yes.
They always got something to say about certain black fighters' choice of fight. But if he would fight Rolly, who's there to fight?
Exactly.
Nobody in his weight class wants to fight him.
Exactly.
Exactly. He moved up to fight Lomachenko. Lomachenko moved down.
Exactly.
You ain't fighting this motherfucker.
Exactly. Nobody. And you see what Javante Tank Davis did? He did something that Floyd taught him. Transcend fucking weight class. That's why I say, y'all, these fucking fighters, it behooves them to bend the fucking knee to Floyd's advice. Floyd said, why don't you just transcend weight classes so you don't limit yourself to one fucking weight class? And look what he did. He transcended from 130, 135, 140. And you got these fucking boxing fans, these dodo fucking brains, dodo fucking heads. They're sitting here and getting after Javante Tank Davis when they're not realizing the bigger picture here. Javante Tank Davis keeps you motherfuckers excited. What knockout in the small crew, in the small crop, has been more exciting? Do you not understand the knockout he did to Leo Santa Cruz is a highlight reel? Motherfuckers got memes on Twitter about that shit. This is what Javante Tank Davis do. He give you highlight reels. The last fight against the 140-pounder that he just fucking went up and fought against. He gave you a highlight reel out of that shit. That's what Javante Tank Davis does. He gives you this is what trips me out, Tom Ross. These fight fans say they want a fighter that is exciting and is front foot exciting and is front foot dominant and all this other bullshit. They're getting that from that particular fighter, right? And yet at the same time, they have criticism. Oh, he's fighting this person. He's fighting. Fight fans just look at boxing. They're not smart enough to look at the economics. They're not smart enough to look at the pugilism, the economics and the politics. Economics is advisors and promoters. They got to iron shit out. These are the Al Heyman levels, the Bob Arum levels, the Eddie Hearn levels, the Lou DiBella levels. They got to iron shit out. And then you have the politics. That's the sanctioning bodies. Every time I kept saying economics, politics, and pugilism, I have a responsibility now to simplify it, because I realize a lot of boxing fans are peon fucking brains. So you have to simplify it to the lamest terms so they fucking get it. Politics is sanctioning bodies. This is what you see the WBA is doing right now in the politics portion of basically screwing Al Heyman over. That's why when I listen to Beta Shop Instigations, that's his real fucking name, this motherfucker sat here out of his rabbit ass mouth and said that Al Heyman, Beta Shop Instigations, that's his fucking name, because he's a beta and he instigates shit. The bottom line is this motherfucker had the rabbit ass nerve to say that Al Heyman is controlling the WBA. You gotta be pushing a fucking agenda to say something stupid like that. Al Heyman is a black man. These two father and son combination are Mexican. Do you guys not understand? These Mexicans hate black fucking people. Go listen to these Mexican boxing fans. EJ88, you know what I'm talking about. Aaron Jones, you know what I'm talking about. Go try to argue with them in the comment section. They will prop up their Mexican fighters and they will shit on your black fighter. Even if your black fighter is doing everything that they're supposed to. You didn't see how they turned on Terrence Bud Crawford when Terrence Bud Crawford told the truth on Canelo Alvarez and said that Canelo Alvarez is petrified and scared of black fighters. And then they said, we see that's why Terrence Bud Crawford is old and Terrence Bud Crawford can't get a great fight. You see, they finally told the truth on Bud. I caught them. Them motherfuckers said that shit. But they were supporting Bud over fucking Spence. But see, the bottom line is this. These two Mexicans are trying to stifle Al Heyman. They're trying to stiff Al Heyman because they know that if Al Heyman gets the Spence in the Ugas fight, Al Heyman has finessed the situation again. His Arrowfield fighter in Earl to Spence gets a fucking lineal. The WBA now belongs to his ass, and they can't treat Spence the way they treat Ugas because Spence is a fucking superstar. So they're gonna have to toe the fucking line. Spence say, I'm gonna go fight this unified fight. They can't pull that bullshit. And he has the cachet of a shrewd businessman in Al Heyman to back him up. And then he goes and cleans it out and then fucks up Terrence Bud Crawford. The WBA is looking at the money part. They know once Spence get that belt, they ain't gonna be making money like that. They're gonna make money in the short term because they're gonna make big money from the fight. But in the long term, they're not gonna keep getting sanctioning fees because Spence gonna move up to 154. They don't want that shit. They know the game. And that's why they're trying to screw out fucking Heyman. But y'all, a lot of y'all boxing fans are not smart enough to catch all this shit. Y'all just going with pandering fucking narratives.
Yep.
Al Heyman is a black guy in a pool of white and fucking Hispanic people. You honestly think that they're not trying to screw this man over since he's finessed the game? He was smart enough to realize, I don't want to wear the promoter hat. That cripples you. I'm gonna wear advisor hat because as an advisor, I'm not just limited to promotion. I'm basically able to run so many different sectors.
He let Floyd,
and he was smart enough to see that shit.
He let Floyd do the promoting. But this is the reason why I said that me and you, we have talked about this. And this is the reason why I said they are trying to Kanye West, Al Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
We all remember when Kanye West was trying to break into the fashion world.
Yep.
They boxed him in and said, you're a rapper. You only can do this. You only can make these T-shirts. You only can do such and such. And then he dropped the album Yeezus, and some of us got it, some of us didn't. A lot of us didn't get it because we're not black owners. We didn't realize what exactly he was fighting for.
Yep.
So they're doing the same thing to Al Heyman. Al Heyman started in the music business.
Yep.
And he came in and he was so successful when his first real fighter that they don't want another Floyd Mayweather Jr. to be created.
Exactly.
So even though he made Floyd a great fighter, and Floyd did it himself by actually working and putting in the work, they still was able to stifle Floyd a little bit. Did you know Floyd was supposed to be undisputed? He technically got it when he beat Baltimore, but he was supposed to be crowned undisputed. But he went through litigation to snatch the belts away from Baltimore 2 weeks before the fight to make sure Floyd didn't have all the belts. They don't.
And he was technically undisputed again after he beat Manny Pacquiao. And what they did, they started stripping all his fucking belts.
all his belts. And we're so when I say we, not us literally, but as a people, we're so diametrically opposed to a black man in ownership. We kind of side with white people and don't know it.
Exactly.
Because some things we're supposed to have in-house. Even if you do have a problem with Al Heyman, it shouldn't be, if it's a minute problem, some of that shit should be stifled until he's hurt in boxing. Soon as Al Heyman do something we don't like, we make videos. We make 1,000 videos. We tearing down Floyd. We tearing down everybody. We don't tear down Al Heyman. Al Heyman's been a cancer to boxing for the last 40 years. We don't tear down Al Heyman. We don't tear down Eddie Hearn, but we so quick to tear down, not Al Heyman. We don't tear down Bob Arum. We'll tear down Eddie Hearn, but we're so quick to tear down Al Heyman that that's what we're used to as a people.
Facts.
Floyd Mayweather can't read. That makes you feel comfortable saying that because he accomplished so much in his life. You got to have something to say bad about him. So he can't read. He's a woman beater. Al Heyman, he ain't really good at what he do. This and third, but we don't talk about non-black people on that sort.
Facts.
And they know that, so they give you the narratives because they know that's what you're used to hearing. They give you the narratives to say. At the end of the day, Bob Arum has been a cancer, and Al Heyman has been the best thing to happen to boxing in a long time. Floyd Mayweather Jr. was the best thing that happened to boxing during his era because he was doing it all clean. In an era where the majority of fighters was dirty, Floyd was clean.
Exactly.
And now look what boxing has come to since Floyd has left. Now they're trying to go back dirty. They're allowing dirty gloves now. They're allowing people to fight knowing they PED. They got PEDs. Literally. They knowing they got PEDs, they still allowed to fight. None of that was happening in Floyd era because Floyd was speaking up about it. So all this shit that we see, because I used to think it was just isolated. Oh, they just don't like Tank. They just don't like Spence. It's really it's a plethora of things, but it stops at they don't like the fact that Al Heyman owns. He's an owner.
Exactly.
He's making these black guys owners.
There you go. I've been saying that for years, though. Independent contractors, they don't like that shit.
The problem that these guys ain't just boxers, they're owners. Al Heyman is taking an advisory percentage, but he's getting broke off so crazy because he got a lot of people he advised. But these guys are owners. Floyd Mayweather is really an owner of Mayweather Production. Tank is going to be an owner. Errol Spencer's an owner. All these guys are owners. They're not supposed to get tax exempts. They're not supposed to get owner privileges. They're black. They're supposed to end their career like Joe Frazier.
We're fucking dead.
In a one-bedroom apartment. Like
come back
Joe
begging.
Lewis. Joe Lewis had to sign over the proceeds of his purses for the rest of his career just to get a title shot, man. That's boxing, man. And until y'all understand that, understand what we're dealing with as a people, that you got to understand you got to be on Al Heyman's side, man. You don't got no choice. Because we got to be on Al Heyman's side because he's the only one that's giving black fighters a fair shot.
Exactly.
And Floyd is a pupil of that.
Much
as you don't like Floyd, Floyd talks too much. He always talk about all the people he beat, and he taking care of Tank Davis. Which one of his fighters he hadn't taken care of? They career ended because they didn't do the right things.
Exactly.
He took care of these guys, man. As arrogant as Floyd is, Floyd actually take care of people who work for him.
Exactly. Floyd Mayweather is a narcissist. That's it. That's what Tom Ross is alluding to. He's a narcissist. He knows everything is a narcissist. You hate that about us, but you also love us. That's just the way the shit rolls. The most successful motherfuckers are narcissists. That's just the way the shit rolls. But also, you know what they are too? Sociopaths. Tom Ross is a fucking sociopath. Probably the
And
most extreme sociopath I've ever met in my fucking life. He is that to the fucking T. And he fucking knows it. I'll remind his ass every fucking day about the shit. But these are the most successful people. People that have these, what you would say, diagnoses. Because you know why? They're always striving. People say it's a negative thing, but they're always striving to get to the next fucking level. Until you own some shit, you will never understand all of the weight and the burdens that you have to carry. Me, I gotta carry a lot of fucking weight and burden with the shit that I own. So I understand it. And because of that, I maneuver a certain way because I understand what the burden is all about. Heavy is the head that wears the fucking crown. Tom Ross TV writes books. You got to deal with contractors. That shit is not fucking easy, man. Motherfuckers think shit is easy and it's not. And until you're in that position, that's why I got on Kyrie Irving the way I did, because I know that other hat too. When you know that other hat and you know the responsibilities that's behind it, the contract that you were signed to subjugate yourself behind, and you're not following through, that pisses off the person who's signing your fucking check.
Yep.
And Al Heyman does not. And this is the thing that black boxing community fan bases don't get. Al Heyman is not forcing the hands of these fighters. You know what he tells these fighters? Why do you think when Deontay Wilder went and got stupid with the fucking LDBC and went and got stupid, all these stupid people, Al Heyman is not forcing him? Right. Because that shows you that Al Heyman treats you as an independent contractor. Because to him, Deontay Wilder has Bomb Squad. He has Bomb Squad Promotions. I'm going to lead you in terms of telling you this is the way that you should govern your affairs from a business standpoint. This is the way for you to stack up. This is the way for you to be able to take care of your family for the rest of your life. And I'm not going to force your fucking hand. I'm not going to sit there and walk you to the fucking pond. You got to be the motherfucker to go in there and drink that motherfucker. And that's how Al Heyman governs PBC. That's the difference between Al Heyman and these promoters. Bob Arum, you didn't see what Bob Arum did to Terrence Bud Crawford? Terrence Bud Crawford, he basically told him, go, get the fuck out of here. You don't give me nothing. I don't gain no sales from your ass. And Bud, because he's a slave, he's a Jerry Heller to Easy E. He's a fucking Easy E, bro. Boxing Easy E. Because he's an Easy E, you know what he did, Tom Ross? He stayed his rabbit ass there. Go ahead, Ross.
Before he did that, what he did was he blamed Bud's lack of success and lack of notoriety on Bud. But truth be told, as a promoter, because he's not an advisor, Bud's lack of success and lack of notoriety is on him.
Yep.
Because to my knowledge, Bud hasn't lost yet. And when you have an undefeated fighter, if you're doing the right thing, they're supposed to be a household name. Because they still undefeated. But you're not selling the fights right. You're not building him up right. If he would have put the time he put into Tyson Fury and Lomachenko into Bud, the Bud name would be ringing as loud as Errol Spence.
Facts.
But you know what the thing people don't understand about boxing? The powers that be outside of Al Heyman don't want another Floyd Mayweather Jr. So they go always undercut what they're doing.
Facts.
Even at their own detriment. Boxing is built upon black people not leaving. What's the good word for it? For them not succeeding economically.
Exactly.
They want you to get the so-called boxing legacy without the actual legacy. The word actually, people say Floyd can't read. He doesn't have a good working. He doesn't know how to read. How come Floyd's the only one that understands the word legacy? You know, legacy has nothing to do with what people say about you in boxing. Exactly. It's about assets. It's about money.
Yep.
It's about things in land that you could pass down to your children. That's legacy. And who has a better legacy as a boxer than Floyd Mayweather Jr.?
None.
They want to give you a boxing legacy. Here, get these belts. They don't want you to leave with a real legacy. That's the gas they hit you with.
Facts.
And that's the gas they hit the black consumer with. That if you see a boxer that started his own business and he runs his own career. Oh, he's carefully choosing the fighters, and his career is somehow second to everybody else's.
Yep.
Because he's doing it his own way.
Facts.
We have to start respecting black ownership, man.
Yep. And they undercut Andre Ward that way too. Andre Ward just didn't command financially the money that Floyd did, but Andre Ward was smart enough to realize, I'm not gonna let these motherfuckers run my career. That's why they tied his ass in litigations for years, and they stripped him of his prime for years because Andre Ward would not cave in, and he still didn't cave in. And I gotta give him that.
What they wanted from Andre Ward, what he just didn't want to do, is because he said he was looking at for how his kids were going to look at him. And boxing is really ran, but people don't know it. It's ran like wrestling, and in wrestling, and even in cowboy movies, you can't have two heroes. You have a hero and an anti-hero, but they call him a hero and a heel.
Facts.
They wanted Andre Ward to be a what they call a heel, a bad guy, to do shit that was out of his character, and he wouldn't do it.
Yep.
And because he wouldn't do it, they started saying, "Oh, he's boring. This, that, and the third."
Yep.
So Andre Ward's like, man, that's not me. It's not me. Floyd was able to do it because Floyd was able to go there. He could go. He could be the bad guy. He could be the good guy. Because Floyd actually really liked wrestling. And he actually understood how wrestling was selling.
Yep.
He said, "Fuck it, I can monopolize this." But Andre Ward was like, he didn't like the fact they were controlling him.
Yep.
So I respect both decisions.
Yep.
I respect both decisions.
Because Andre Ward's like, I'm SOG. Dog. All I know how to do is win. I've won all my. Andre Ward has won since this motherfucker's been a toddler. That's all he know how to fucking do is win. So somebody that's always won like that, how the fuck you gonna tell them they need to take an L? They don't know L. L is not in their fucking vocabulary. So how you gonna tell them to take an L? Earl the True Spence, they've tried to do this to Earl the True Spence a number of times. Spence is like, fuck y'all. I'm an airfield fighter. I'm not taking no fucking L's. I'm not taking no dives. Now, Ross may not agree with me, but Bob Arum and Frank Warren said there was going to be a trilogy. Listen, Ross, I don't trust white people like that at the highest levels because they always got some slick fucking agendas. And you got two of the slickest motherfuckers in boxing, and Bob Arum and Frank Warren, and these motherfuckers said there was going to be a trilogy before the first punch was thrown in the first fight. And if that's not controversy, I don't fucking know what controversy is. If that's not WWE, I don't know what WWE is. So to me, Wilder took a fucking paid to fucking lose in that second fucking fight. I had to come to that conclusion of it. Because how the fuck did we get to a third fucking fight? Something had to happen. There had to be a chain of reaction and a course to get to a third fucking fight.
And if he didn't do it purposely, he did it by omission. When I mean by omission, he did it by not having the right people in his circle. Because even in the third fight, he still wasn't making the right choices, man.
Nope.
Because he knows one thing we can agree with is this. We might not agree with the time stamps or whatever, but we can agree with that Tyson Fury was never a knockout puncher.
Yeah, we can agree with that shit. Pillow fisted.
Until he was wearing those gloves.
Yes.
So if you know that, part of the pre-fight shit is to take away the unfair advantages that you may feel. They may not be unfair to everybody, but they may be unfair to you. If you have a good team in your circle, it's getting done. If you have a bad team, it's not getting done. And now that leads me to the mindset of, are you just a bad decision maker? Or did you go into that fight knowing that if you wear these gloves, you could possibly lose? And you just trying to please everybody so they can see you as a warrior.
Facts.
Because you know they don't see black fighters as fighters until they lose.
Exactly.
That's why I don't like it. Because I don't see Tyson Fury, even with all his more skill, beating a Deontay Wilder on a clear playing field. I don't see it. But it happened. They finally got their great white hope. Almost, that they're going to become undisputed.
Exactly. And that's exactly what they got. And I mentioned it. Great white hope.
You know what I'm saying?
I said that. Great white hope.
That's why they hate Floyd. Floyd never allowed them to get their Mexican or their white hope. He never allowed it because he kept winning.
Yep.
So they made sure he could be named the greatest, but he'll never enjoy it.
Yep. And see, I don't like it detested me, man, to say Tyson Fury won, but you can't be a truth teller and not admit when you see what you see. And what I saw in that second half of the fucking fight when he did that technically placed punch in the 11th round, come on, man, that there ain't no cheating associated with that. Bottom line is Deontay Wilder wore horsehair gloves just as much as he wore horsehair gloves, and Tyson Fury was able through those horsehair gloves to get that fucking punch off. And plus, Deontay Wilder's already sustained equilibrium issues and dent in the fucking skull. See, this is what they do, man, to black fighters. That's why I always say black fighters should never take a fucking dive. They should never take a pay to lose. They should never take an L, because this shit leaves a permanent stainage on your boxing resume, especially when you black. That's why Floyd never took that shit. Andre Ward never took that shit. Spence damn sure ain't gonna never take that shit, dog, because they understand the dynamics behind it. Wilder, on the other hand, and I'm gonna keep it real, Tom Ross, before the Fury fight, he wasn't making that kind of money, dog. Wilder was making good money, but the Fury fight commanded another aura of money that his ass ain't seen before. And I do believe that was a determining motivator for Deontay Wilder to accept whatever. Because you know Wilder is the type of motherfucker.
He lost track out of everything when he saw those numbers.
Exactly. When he saw those fucking numbers, and you got to remember when he was negotiating his contract, Deontay Wilder turned around in negotiating his contract. He basically turned around and said, "Hey, man, I need money. Where's the dollars at?" Remember when we was going through the Anthony Joshua shit, and he was going through all of this other stuff, and he was shopping around. He was looking for money, man. And there had to be some caving in that had to happen in order for that to take place. And no, you know what? I said enough. I didn't call Tyson Fury a cheater. I basically said after the third fight that Tyson Fury won, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Now, in the first two fights, that's a whole different story, but I don't even want to reopen those can of worms. Let's talk about Crawford and fucking Porter, man.
Okay.
Because I'm done with the fucking Wilder and Fury shit. We touched on Rolly Romero, and we touched on fucking Tyson Fury. It's not I'm backing Fury. I don't give a fuck about Fury. Fury is a great right hook. But I have to tell the truth. The truth is Tyson Fury won. So am I going to lie about that? Get the fuck out of here. Bottom line is this. When you look at Terrence Bud Crawford and you look at Sean Porter, to me, Terrence Bud Crawford and Sean Porter is a nosedive fight. That's what it boils down to. It's a nosedive fucking fight.
I hope it's not, but I can see.
And the reason why I believe it's a nosedive fight, I showed you a picture of Sean Porter's muscle tone. And I showed you a picture of Sean Porter's muscle tone around the same time with Earl the Tube Spence. Sean Porter had definition, dog. Yeah. We're a month out. This motherfucker's jelly.
Yeah,
fuck?
He was on that bitch looking like Hassan Campbell.
Exactly. Looking like Hassan Campbell. And here's the tricky part about it. Terrence Bud Crawford, this is the thing that tripped me out about, bro. You're gonna laugh. Him and Kenny Porter say that Terrence Bud Crawford is the hardest fight. He's going to be the most difficult boxer. He's going to be the most, to me, Sean Porter's basically revealing by not training as hard that isn't the case. Because there's what we say, and Tom Ross got a harp on that, and then there's our fucking actions. His actions are speaking louder than his words. His actions is telling us Terrence Bud Crawford is not that fucking hard. Because with Spence, he trained for a whole fucking year. He trained like his life depended on it. He trained like he was going to die in the fucking ring. He turned around and got a strength conditioning coach, which he never had before, in Larry fucking Wade. Sean Porter came in his best shape of his fucking life. He fought a 75 to 85% Spence. Spence still made him bend the fucking knee. Spence still beat him 9-3 rounds. Bob Arum said 8-4. It ain't no worse than 8-4. I don't know what these motherfuckers talking about 7-5. 9-3 at worst, 8-4. That's what it was. Basically, it was a Floyd Marcos Maidana type of fight. 9-3, 8-4. That's just the way the shit rolls. Bottom line is as simple as this.
I think you called it 9-3. I called it 8-4.
There you go. And I don't have a problem with 8-4. If you say 8-4, I have no fucking problems with that.
And I was being courteous to Sean Porter.
Exactly. And if you say 8-4, I don't have, because Bob Arum said it. Bob Arum said it ain't no worse than 8-4. And anybody that got it worse than 8-4, they don't know the shit about boxing. He said that out of his own mouth too. So bottom line is a 75 to 85% spins has given Sean Porter bloated trauma, like I told you he has. He sustained this because go look at Sean Porter's next fight. He fought a tomato can, dog. A fucking bum bash.
Right.
And in that fight, Sean Porter underperformed. People said Sean Porter looked so good. He was fighting a fucking tune-up and he looked bad in that fight. That's what we call Spence hangover. That's what happens when you go 12 rounds with Spence. You are no longer the same fighter. And truth be told, Tom Ross, you know why Sean Porter really can't fuck? Because it dawned on me. At first, it was nosedive, but that's still true. But the bigger picture behind the nosedive is, oh shit, he went 12 rounds with Spence. Derek James said it, dog. Since the Mikey Garcia fight.
That's where my mind
When you
is.
go 12 rounds with Earl the True Spence, you are no longer the same fighter. Sean Porter cannot train to that level because Spence beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Spence took it out of his ass. So you know what Sean Porter's doing? He's podcasting. He's basically not showing Terrence Bud Crawford the respect he deserves because I believe that Sean Porter feels he can bullshit himself into this fight and still probably do what a mean machine is able to do. That's what I think. But this is where Sean Porter is not going to be able to do that because of the fact that the way that they're selling this fight. You got to look at the climate and the way the fight is moving. Bob Arum is the face in front. He's pushing the fucking fight. Yeah. Terrence Bud Crawford's doing all the fucking training. Sean Porter's doing all the fucking bullshitting. So what they're going to do in this fight, just like they did with Kell Brook, because come on, y'all can't tell me the Kell Brook fight did not look like Comedy Central. You cannot tell me that. It was fucking Comedy Central because Kell Brook basically was outboxing Terrence Bud Crawford. I remember because me and Tom Ross were covering that fight.
He was beating Terrence Crawford easy.
He was beating the shit out of him, and then all of a sudden, he just took the foot off the gas. Come on, who fucking does that? And then when Terrence Bud Crawford hit him, you knew it was a fucking nosedive because when you saw the way that Bud hit him, it wasn't even flush. It was just basically Kell Brook. Probably Bob Arum looked this way and was like, hey, motherfucker, it's time to take the dive. Right. And then his ass just wobbled all over to the other damn side. It's the same shit with Sean Porter. Sean Porter's basically, if you look at it, and I did the math behind it, Tom Ross, Sean Porter is due to get the money, exact money that he wanted from this fight. So this is basically, let me get my check. Let me be that gatekeeper that I've always been so that I can prop you up, give you a name so that you can have some name on your resume and then you can push the Spence fight. Because if you look at it, Terrence Bud Crawford, to promote this fight, because this fight is not really promotable, he had to use Earl Spence's name throughout. Every time they interview him, Spence is out of his fucking mouth. Yeah. But if you notice, when Spence is fighting, Spence don't mention fucking Terrence Bud Crawford. In the Danny Garcia fight, when they asked Spence was like, the fuck y'all talking about, man? We need to be talking about this fight. We need to be talking about this motherfucker. What the fuck you talking about? Why y'all keep mentioning Terrence Bud Crawford? But if you notice with Bud, they're always mentioning Terrence. They're always mentioning Earl Spence. You want to know why? Because they know Earl Spence is the power player. Mm-hmm. They know he's the superstar. They know when it's all said and done that Earl Spence is the guy that drives boxing. He is the true face of boxing. All of these Deontay Wilder fans learned it the hard way. When I was talking their ass off the fucking ledge and they were saying they were the fake face of boxing, bottom line is this motherfucker's always been the fake face of boxing. The true face of boxing is Earl the True Spence, because Bushmaster said something so powerful in Luke Cage. Remember when he was talking to his uncle? He said, two bulls can't reign in one pen. Dandada is not plural. Basically, what he's saying is me and Luke Cage can't be doing it. We can't be running fucking New York at the same time. It can only be one motherfucker running it. One. And when it's all said and done, Earl the True Spence is the true fucking face of boxing. It's very hard for people to admit that because it wasn't fitting their agendas. But now they have no choice but to admit it. Wilder got fucking exposed at the highest levels. If Wilder is smart, his game plan, and I could already tell you his business strategy, if he's listening to people that understand business, Go after Anthony Joshua. Y'all two fucking losers. It would be a good fight at this point. Y'all have lost enough. Now there ain't no fucking belts. So it can't be no, oh, we scared. One of us is scared to get the O. None of that bullshit no more. Y'all done lost multiple times now. So y'all need to go squabble it out. That fight right there would be big enough. It would drive you and it would build you up for a potential Tyson Fury rematch. And the reason why it would build you up for a potential Tyson Fury rematch is because guess what, Tom Ross? There ain't that many great heavyweights. So Tyson Fury would eventually have to fight them again.
It's not. And if you can't get that fight, I say this. Because truth be told, the Brigader, the Brigader belt that they made, it's really a heavyweight belt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's heavyweights that's topped off. They can't come in damn near 300 pounds. If you can't get Anthony Joshua, go down there, knock dude out. Because right now you need a viral moment.
Yep.
Because people will always love Wilder as long as he knocks them motherfuckers out. Go down there, knock dude out, hold on to that belt. Wait for Anthony Joshua or Usyk to come on.
Yeah.
If you can't get them, see if you can knock out one of the mandatory. See if you can knock out one of the mandatory number one contenders at heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
They don't fight you. Defend your career, but keep knocking motherfuckers out. Keep knocking motherfuckers out because heavyweights can always demand a big payday as long as they knockout kings.
Yep.
As long as they knockout kings, you have to know what your brand is. Your brand is Bomb Squad.
Exactly.
So when you not having a big fight, you having a knockout fight.
Exactly.
You can't have no time to sit on your laurels. And to go back to what you were saying about what else you was talking about before you mentioned Deontay Wilder. You mentioned something else. What was you bringing up before you mentioned Deontay Wilder?
Man, I covered a lot of shit, dog.
You covered shit. You covered too much shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I covered so much shit, man. I don't remember half. Y'all help us out, man, in the chat, man. There's so many things that I've covered. I don't even remember, but I know I talked about.
You were talking about.
I talked about Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter.
So the reason why Sean Porter is giving all this undue praise to Terrence Crawford is because number one, he's still bitter about that Errol Spence fight.
Yep.
Still bitter about that, and then he knows he's not the same after the Errol Spence fight. So just in case if he loses, instead of him giving the credit to Errol Spence, he want to say now before he even fought Crawford that Crawford's a better fighter.
Yep.
So mentally, he's preparing himself to lose.
Yep.
How the fuck you know Crawford is a better fighter? You've never been in there with Crawford. So how can you say that? How can you say Crawford's the better fighter? You've never been in there with Crawford. But he's preparing himself. He's already preparing a narrative. Already.
Yep.
And that's the reason why I don't really like when boxers be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in media, 1 foot in boxing, because they start doing the narratives. Keith Thurman, another guy on narratives. Pacquiao is better than Floyd Mayweather. Why? Because you lost to Pacquiao?
Yep.
The fact that you lost to Pacquiao and Floyd didn't let you know Floyd is better than Pacquiao. And you.
Yep.
But they got their foot in media, so they push media narratives. We have boxing fans got to realize majority of shit that you hear, and even half of what you see, not even real, man.
Yep.
Most of these fights be fixed. It be some way fixed, some form of fashion, and the narrative be already fixed.
Yep. Before
the last round of a fight, you'll start hearing the media start creating their narrative for why they wanted to win, losing, and it'll change. First, it was like, there's no way Floyd could beat Canelo. Canelo, he's bigger, he's younger, he is harder.
Facts.
Round 10, 11, 12, you start hearing the media creating a narrative for you to say yourself. Well, Canelo was just out. Floyd just has so much wisdom. If Canelo was just a little bit older,
Mm-hmm.
Canelo didn't have the experience. They start telling you what they want you to say.
Exactly.
And what you say about round 12, you start saying the shit that they was telling you in round 8. They
Yep.
already manipulated your mind. When in
Yep.
boxing, the best advantage to ever have is to be younger than the person you fighting,
Exactly.
especially if it's more than 10 years.
Yep.
There ain't no way in hell Floyd was supposed to beat Canelo that easy. That fight right
Exactly.
there,
Right.
on that fight right there, I was still conflicted of who was my greatest that I seen with my eyes. It was still
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad Ali. So after that fight, it was Floyd because at that point in Muhammad Ali's career, he was getting beat up and barely winning.
Hey man, I want you to laugh at this one, dog.
Amir Khan no pose stressing nobody. How could Floyd duck Amir Khan? If Amir Khan demanded the type of paychecks Floyd was getting, Floyd would have fought Amir Khan.
There you go.
He didn't fight Amir Khan because Amir Khan was somebody he was going to walk through for nothing.
Yep. Yep.
Amir Khan he don't demand no money.
Nope.
At the time Amir Khan wanted to fight Floyd, Floyd had already been a 3-time welterweight champion, a
Yep.
1-time 140 champion. He had
Yep.
already defended his lightweight belts 8 times. He had already did everything he could do in boxing. Amir Khan,
Yep.
there was no reason to fight Amir Khan.
Nope. Nothing to gain.
Amir Khan was too fast to fight, too fast for Floyd. But he wasn't too fast for Canelo. That don't make no sense. He wasn't even too fast for Canelo.
They always gonna say Floyd. They're always gonna say Floyd ducked this and that. Didn't they say that Manny Pacquiao was too fast for Floyd? Timing beats speed. Timing beats speed.
Manny Pacquiao's faster than Amir Khan.
Mm-hmm.
And hit harder. What happened? What happened, man? What happened? I seen the Manny Pacquiao get embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew Manny Pacquiao was going to lose that fight.
Yep.
Back when Floyd fought Haddon.
So Manny's an old man, but isn't Floyd older than Manny? Shut up. Floyd is 2 years older than Manny. So what that made Floyd?
Floyd Mayweather was out of his prime when he beat Manny that easy.
Man, come on, man. They constantly getting countered here. Floyd was 2.5 years older than Manny Pacquiao. So if Manny Pacquiao was old, Floyd was a senior citizen. Enough with that, man. Enough. Amir Khan was a young lion. Isn't that what they said about Canelo? Canelo was 23 years old. Remember, Oscar De La Hoya said Floyd is ducking Canelo Alvarez. And you brought up to that point. Canelo shows up in fight night 175 pounds.
And lost.
Floyd is barely 152. That should have been a wash for Canelo. And what happened in the fight? The 152 pounder kept the 175 pounder off of him and boxed the life out of him.
Not only did he outbox him, because he outboxed Pacquiao, but he walked Canelo down the whole fight.
Yep.
That was embarrassing, man. What people don't need to understand is the more you hate on Floyd, the more you say to everyone who knows boxing that you don't understand nothing that you watch.
Exactly.
Prime Floyd would have put Manny Pacquiao in a hospital, man.
Yep.
The Floyd that beat up Ricky Haddon was knocking everybody out.
Yep.
That's what people fail to realize. Ricky Haddon was knocking everybody out that he fought. He got in with Floyd, threw his best punch at Floyd. Floyd ate it.
Yep.
And started Floyd ate it. He's like, oh, this ain't really much about nothing. Started walking him down and beating him up.
Yep.
So listen, Floyd was a guy Floyd was like the Michael Jordan of his era.
There you go.
He's a top guy, but for him to get the competition he needed, he would have been a generation younger or a generation older. He was the best guy in the right time.
Yep.
So he was born to be who he was. He was the best guy, the nigga who you couldn't fuck with in the very right time. Because let's be honest, Kobe was Jordan's competition, but Kobe came years later.
Yep.
Kobe came just like Errol Spence was Floyd's competition, but Errol Spence came years later.
Yep.
Errol Spence would have been the guy that would make Floyd fight for 12 straight rounds.
Yep.
But as luck would have it, unlucky for y'all, Errol Spence now got to dominate this era. And that's what y'all get. Because y'all didn't give Floyd the credit. Now here comes Errol Spence. Finna do the same thing.
Exactly.
Because they were so happy. Y'all were so happy Floyd retired. Y'all thought the reign was over. Y'all thought the reign was over. The reign ain't over, man. You know what I'm saying? Floyd fought everybody that there was to fight in his prime. Everybody.
My bad. I got shot out. I'm back in.
Yeah.
Bottom line is back to what you were saying, and it's funny that you said that. The biggest thing here is Errol Spence is exactly what you said that he was. But I'm laughing at this whole Amir Khan thing because there's what people say and then there's our actions. We could say one thing, but our actions speak louder. Amir Khan got knocked out by Danny Garcia. You understand what Floyd would do to Danny? You guys are talking about this speed, but Danny Garcia is a counterpuncher. Floyd is the greatest counterpuncher boxing has ever seen. But y'all keep saying Amir Khan's too fast. Wouldn't he be too fast for Danny Garcia? Danny Garcia basically mentally fractured him.
Yeah.
The fight against Lamar Peterson. Floyd is 1,000 infinity times better than Lamar Peterson. Lamar Peterson embarrassed a freaking Amir Khan. Don't get me started about the fight with Canelo Alvarez. Didn't Floyd demolish Canelo Alvarez? Canelo Alvarez knocked out Amir Khan. Do I need to keep on going? Terrence Bud Crawford. Floyd is way better than Terrence Bud Crawford. So what do y'all keep talking about when y'all sit here and say Amir fucking Khan? No, I know that, Sade, but I want to bring up a point here because the point is boxing fans have to understand when they sit there and they spew this nonsense, Sade, this is the point of why boxing is in the gutter because they don't want to give credit where credit is due. You know what I like about Mexican community fan bases? One thing I like about them, you know how they call Floyd, even though they hate on Floyd, they say Floyd is great, the great Mayweather. I've heard them say that.
They know
every time you mention that they beat Canelo, you know what they say? The great Mayweather was the one to beat Canelo. They give Mayweather that credit. Even though they kind of spit on Mayweather and they kind of shit on Mayweather and they kind of get mad on Mayweather, when you bring up the Canelo part, out of everybody else, they're the only ones that fix their rabbit ass mouth to give them credit. Manny Pacquiao fans don't do it. Other fans don't do it. But when it comes to them, they call Floyd the great Mayweather. Y'all need to start calling Floyd the great Mayweather. That's why I said all of that. That is the first thing that needs to be coming out your mouth when you're talking about Mayweather. You need to say the great Mayweather. That's it. Just put them in rarefied company. Go look at UFC with Dana White and MMA. They call him the great Mayweather. That's what Dana White calls him. Mayweather has transformed boxing. He's the reason why I am able to get the numbers that I'm getting pay-per-view wise. Dana White has said this. And now this guy has taken YouTubers like, what's his name? The Paul brothers. He's taking these types of clowns, Jake Pauls of the world, Logan fucking Pauls of the world, and he's done record numbers. Floyd is laughing to you guys at the bank. You know, because Floyd started doing these exhibition bouts, that's why Mike Tyson and Roy Jones were successful.
Right.
It was because of Floyd, because Floyd did it well with Conor McGregor.
But
if Floyd didn't do what he did with Conor McGregor, we wouldn't have Mike Tyson and Roy Jones doing what they're doing right now.
And guess what? He was doing it. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones was talking shit.
Exactly.
Now they do it. See, here's the problem. Here's the problem I have. The problem I have with Floyd detractors is they don't have a fundamental understanding of boxing. What I mean by that is all because a fighter didn't fight this fighter don't mean duck them. There's a myriad of reasons why they didn't fight. Maybe they couldn't agree on money. Maybe they couldn't agree on gloves. Most fights where people have good counsel, it be small shit why they didn't fight, and they don't care if you wear these gloves and fight. If you want to fight me in this big ass ring that don't make no sense when you fight. Fights are decided upon. Then the fight happens.
Yep.
Or it could have been that, truth be told, we not in the same era. People want to say, well, Floyd didn't fight such and such until they got old. It was the onus was on De La Hoya to make that fight, not Floyd, because De La Hoya was A side. How the B side fighter ducking the A side? The A side fighter choose the fighter.
Exactly.
So they say he ducked. They say he ducked Margarito. At the time, Floyd and Margarito could have fought. Was not Margarito suspended for cheating?
Yeah, he was.
So how you duck a cheater?
Loaded fucking gloves.
How do you duck a cheater?
You
don't have to fight a cheater. You don't have no obligation to fight someone who's been cheated in boxing.
Exactly.
So how do you duck a cheater, man?
Yep. Well documented that he's a cheater. Look what he did to Miguel Cotto's face. That's why Canelo Alvarez was able to cut up Miguel Cotto so fast. Miguel Cotto has not recovered facially from those loaded ass gloves.
Because some things you never recover from like that.
Yep.
All these guys that people say Floyd didn't fight or fought after they prime or whatever, Floyd was younger then, and they didn't want to fight Floyd when Floyd was Pretty Boy Floyd. Floyd twist their hands. De La Hoya,
you're not telling the other side. Manny Pacquiao fought them when they were even older, and Canelo Alvarez fought them when they were a banana peel away from the grave. But they give them credit for it.
They give them credit for it. So, by proxy of that, you're saying, by proxy of you being so biased against Floyd, you're saying just how great Floyd is and not knowing.
Exactly.
By proxy of moving the goalpost so much. Another guy they're doing that to in football, they're doing that to Lamar Jackson in football. By proxy of them moving the goalpost so much, they're making him be even greater.
Facts.
Now you take those standards they're putting on him, and when you place them against everybody else who came before him, they don't compare.
Facts.
I love John Elway and Brett Favre, but when you compare what they did in their first 40 years to Lamar Jackson, they don't compare. So now you like, damn, this nigga Lamar Jackson is elite.
Exactly.
That's why y'all gotta stop putting these unfair parameters around Errol Spence, around Mayweather, and around Tank, because now you making people compare these guys to people who came before him, and you realize Tank is special, Floyd is special, Errol Spence is special. Nobody was doing this shit.
No, exactly.
And now when we use the same parameters you put on Floyd to your fighters, we realize Amir Khan was trash.
Exactly.
Like, because we put a Floyd standard. Now we're gonna put a Floyd standard on Amir Khan. Who did Amir Khan beat? We're talking about. Who did Gennady Golovkin really beat?
Exactly.
He got all these belts. Who was he really whooping on?
Exactly.
Canelo,
no special effect, up and down.
Canelo, his biggest fights were people Mayweather had already beat.
Exactly.
15 years prior. Baltimore was an old ass man.
Yep.
So when you stop using that, when we take what you're doing against Mayweather and we put it on you guys as fighters, we realize your fighters ain't shit.
Exactly.
So that's why you gotta be fair, man. Because we wouldn't even be thinking about that until y'all start doing this.
Yep.
We realized like, oh shit, okay. Y'all said Tyson Fury is the greatest heavyweight. Tyson Fury only got one title defense?
Exactly.
Ooh, okay. Y'all saying Errol Spence ain't really nothing. Now he got his 2 belts. Did you know Manny Pacquiao never unified a belt at any belt, let alone welterweight? He never had more than 1 belt at welterweight. Manny Pacquiao never had more than 1 belt at a time.
Exactly.
And he never had more than 1 belt at welterweight.
What Bob Orders belt?
So check.
Who did that remind you of? Bud. What Bob Orders belt?
Exactly. Now Bud only got 1 belt.
That's it.
How he did?
That's it.
He whooped anybody can whoop, except for Pacquiao. Pat got the only one that struggled
And Timothy
with.
not yet Bradley. What Bob Order's belt?
Exactly. So when y'all be so biased against Floyd, what you realize is you take that same standard, the
Mm-hmm.
unrealistic standard y'all using, and you
Yep.
put it against the fighters you say is great, it exposes just how much they lack. It exposes how much they lack.
Yep.
De La Hoya actually fought everybody, so I'll give him his credit for that. When we talk about Canelo going compared to De La Hoya, man. If we're being honest, if we talking about the great Mexican fighters, De La Hoya to Canelo not even at De La Hoya level.
Yep.
Because at least De La Hoya wasn't scared to fight people in their prime. At
Yep.
least he wasn't scared to fight the people at his peer group.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo is. That's one thing you could give to that cokehead. When he was
Exactly.
fighting, he fought.
Yep.
So this is the reason why we don't have respect for Canelo and everybody else, because we actually watch boxing, man. We actually
Exactly.
watched it for a long time, and we know somebody
Exactly.
deserves credit when they don't. We know it, man.
Okay. And and here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm glad Ron 501 brought it up because we're gonna go to that because that was the next topic we're gonna segue into. Everybody sitting there clowning Caleb Plant. I thought Caleb Plant was the alpha in that press conference. And what people don't understand, and Canelo Alvarez was the beta. People don't understand it was Caleb Plant's glasses that got him the mark.
Yeah,
Canelo didn't land no fucking punch on him. Canelo
that
Alvarez was
was
trying to
splash.
slap him. It
That
was
was
slaps.
splash. Yeah,
That's why I was laughing because I saw the shit and I saw slaps. And they were like, oh, when it's all said and done, Canelo Alvarez straight punked him. And it's agendas. We get it. Monty Brown's just copying IBFP. I know this because IBFP's already told me on Twitter that he gave him the blueprint. The blueprint. Yes, I'm outing your ass, motherfucker. You basically copying that dude. That's all you're doing. You're taking IBFP's blueprint and running with the same shit because you wanted to graduate yourself. You sold your own soul, your black soul. We look at you, we see a black man, we see a black crippled man, we see a guy that's gargling the freaking cinnamon dust ball sacks. We see that you're basically getting salads tossed. We see that you're getting ramrodded and he's keeping you will fucking chair bound. We see that. We understand it and we get it. But the bottom line is you sold out. And there's a scripture that says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world, but to lose his soul in the process? See, Maximus Aurelius Decitus said in the Gladiator, what we do in this life, it echoes into eternity. You can't be talking the realness that you was talking when you had He Knows Everything, formerly known as He Knows His Sport, and Tom Ross, keeping iron sharpeneth iron, for a man is sharpeneth by the countenance of his friend. Dean, we kept you on your dean. Notice when we step to the side, this is the thing. When me and Ross step away, there's no fucking dean. Motherfuckers ain't on their dean, dog. There's no standards. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And when I say stay on your dean, Ross know what I'm talking about. That's hood terminology. So I have to simplify shit so you motherfuckers can get it. What I'm trying to say is there's no standards.
keep the standard. Stay on your square.
There's no fucking standards. Thank you, Ron 501. That's right. He knows everything's the GOAT, but Tom Ross TV is also the GOAT too. Don't get that shit twisted. That's another fucking GOAT.
Good
Bottom
luck.
line is, when it's all said and done, there was no standards no more. So you had to go and basically copy IBFP strategy. Now, that strategy works, but it's a cooning and buffooning strategy. Because that strategy is to basically say that I need to run with this because Canelo Alvarez, he has the lion's share of boxing fans, Mexican community fan bases. They will drink their Coronas. They will walk around 500 fucking pounds. They will have their tostadas, enchiladas, and burritos in their fucking mouths, but they will support boxing. They're unified with that shit.
Exactly.
They will just do it. They will shit out fucking tacos. They'll be at your local taco meat fashion store eating all that shit, but they support fucking boxing. When it comes to the black fighters, they don't support fucking boxing. And when it comes to the black community fan base, they just don't. And the bottom line is, Monty Brown realized that. He seeked out IBFP. I know this. I don't need to. I don't need to go further to put him on blast. Because what motherfuckers don't understand is me and IBFP, we still fucking talk. We're like frenemies or some shit like that. He always mentioning me in his fucking videos. Y'all know this shit because y'all keep bringing this shit back to me. Matter of fact, he asked me to fucking debate his ass. And he said, look, Monty Brown came, basically got on his fucking knees. I had to take my shit, whip my shit out and let him suck it up real quick. And he asked me, you know, hey, what's the game plan for me to get subs and fucking views? That's exactly what happened. Y'all go ask Monty Brown, question him. He'll tell you. And if he lie out of his own mouth, y'all need to go check out IBFP and that motherfucker will tell you the truth. And IBFP said, just talk about Canelo. Just talk good about Canelo, because when you're a black person, you talk good about Canelo, yeah, you sell your soul, but you're going to get mad subs and views because the Mexican fans going to be like, yeah, you see, this black motherfucker right here, he's selling his soul out, but he's saying what we want to hear. And they'll be right there drinking their Coronas, right there drinking their, what's that other one called? Tecate. The Tecate. Yeah. They'll be either doing it the Amber style, they'll be drinking their fucking cervezas, and right there saying, you know what? We are going to cap out. We're going to coon and fucking buffoon for Canelo Alvarez. But see, here's the thing, EJ88, and I'm glad you mentioned it. Say, yeah, Monty sold his soul to Canelo Mafia. Canelo Alvarez is under the gun. I actually feel sorry for Canelo. Let me tell you why I feel sorry for him, Tom Ross. Canelo is basically the Mexican Mafia's puppet. Y'all motherfuckers don't understand. They got that dude, El Chapo. El Chapo still fucking run Mexico. Don't get this shit twisted. He is ass behind bars, but his motherfuckers run fucking Mexico. What they basically doing is they got Canelo as their Caucasian puppet, and they told him, look here, if you don't do what you do in boxing, don't worry. We got the boxing judge and gifting decision in our pockets. Because remember, who fucking runs boxing outside of the promoters and the advisors? Isn't it sanctioning bodies? WBC, Mexican. WBA, Mexican. Don't get the shit twisted. Go look at when Canelo Alvarez accepted the WBC French fry belt. All of that shit is connected. Adelaide Bird and her giving split decision in a Floyd fight. Y'all don't think this shit is all connected? It's all connected. And they basically told Canelo, you will be our face. You will run boxing. We're going to make life easy for you. But don't get the shit twisted. You fuck around and fuck up, your family's under the damn gun. Mm-hmm. We know where you at in Guadalajara, Mexico. We know where to find your rabbit ass. So that's why Canelo is playing and towing a certain line. See, a lot of y'all don't understand the dark shit behind the sport, but this is the darkness that's behind. I'm giving y'all gems and jewels, man. I'm giving y'all 303 lane shit. This is what's going on. And this is what's going on with Canelo Alvarez. This is why Canelo Alvarez's machine is not going to stop no time soon. It's going to take a fighter of special caliber to end him. That's why when I said Floyd was the beginning of the end for Canelo, Earl the True Smith's going to be the end of the end. That's why they running him away from Jamal Charlo. Because if Jamal Charlo turn around and touch Canelo, it's fucking over for Canelo. Mm-hmm. If Demetrius Andrade touch Canelo, it's fucking over for Canelo. Because these are elite black fighters. And one thing we know about Canelo and elite black fighters, if you say Canelo is Superman, elite black fighters is fucking kryptonite.
Exactly.
Because we know when Superman get up on the kryptonite, his ass gonna fucking fold and die. That's just the way the shit rolls. The bottom line is they have to keep him away from black elite fighters because black elite fighters expose him. Terrence Bud Crawford, every time he gets mad, me and Ross was talking about that earlier, he tells the truth. And one of the truths he said was black fighters, black prominent fighters, which is another way of how He Knows Everything says black elite fighters, they give Canelo Alvarez problems. That's why he don't like fighting them. When was the last time Canelo Alvarez fought a prominent elite black fighter? Listen, Ross, we always talk about Mayweather. Arislandi Lara did a Pernell Whitaker. See, I'm going to the history books on you motherfuckers. He did a Pernell Whitaker to Julio Cesar Chavez on Canelo Alvarez. Cleaned his ass up for 11 rounds. Canelo comes in the 12th round and gives a little flurry of hoopla and then they give Canelo the win, just like they robbed Pernell Whitaker. The difference is Pernell Whitaker fell, and here's the funny part about it: Lara never fucking fell. Lara just got flurries of punches, and they said, Canelo, you won the fight. They forgot that Lara was beating the shit out of Canelo the whole fucking fight because of his Cuban background, amateur pedigree. That should have been an instant run it fucking back. Now let's talk about Austin Trout. Austin Trout wasn't as close as Lara, but Austin Trout should have been a run it back too. That was a controversial fight.
He was still getting
Austin Trout. Thank you. He went tooth and fucking nail with Canelo Alvarez. Now go look at Jamal Charlo with Austin Trout when Austin Trout was still Austin fucking Trout. Jamal Charlo cleaned them out easier. But see, they tell you Charlos don't fight nobody. Sergey Derevchenko. This is a guy at the middleweight division, Tom Ross, because you know middleweight division is a transitional division. Nobody wanted to fight Sergey Derevchenko. Triple G tried to duck him, but when Triple G eventually fought him, we know what happened. Triple G won a highway fucking robbery. But Triple G, one thing that I can say about Triple G, he will fucking fight you. Unlike Canelo, he will fight you. When Triple G fought Danny Jacobs, he fought Danny Jacobs at his full-blown 186 when he basically rehydrate. But then Canelo Alvarez takes a cancer patient. This is why I don't respect Canelo Alvarez. He took a cancer patient and rehydrated him. That's got to be the most disrespectful, underhanded, and cheating shit you could ever fucking do. And you guys want me to respect this motherfucker? Get the fuck out of here.
But think about it. You know how they could get away with that?
Mm-hmm.
Because boxing fans refuse, and the onus is on us for we to keep educating them. They refuse to be educated about boxing. They want to be entertained by boxing. Boxing is entertainment. You gotta know what you're watching, right? If you ever play sports, you realize, like, say, if you're a guy that was bigger than most of the kids of your size, you either have to play a position, you didn't want to play, or you had to cut weight. You had to cut weight to play with guys because you were naturally bigger than them. Those first couple of games, after you cut that weight, you weak, man.
Exactly.
You getting pop. You getting. Guys have to cut weight to play Pop Warner. Because naturally bigger. You for the first couple of games, and you get your weight back. So man, but think about it. In boxing, when you got to cut weight, and they saying you can rehydrate, you got to fight like that.
Yep.
You got to fight like that. Half strength, half. You know how it is when you're hungry. Half energy. You have no strength. You have no energy.
Facts.
He won. That's another person.
Yep.
That's another person. Just on Deontay Wilder shit. Bad representation because Al Heyman is just your advisor. You need people to go. Al Heyman's not going to go in there and look at the gloves, man. He's going to get you a fight.
No.
Al Heyman's going to get you the fight.
Yep. And he's going to make sure your check look good.
He's going to get you the money. He's going to take that money and invest it for you. But he's not going to look at the gloves. You got to have the teammate to say, okay, the gloves make sense. You know what? This rehydration shit don't make sense because the WBC don't call for this dehydration in the unified fight. Why can I dehydrate? He didn't have the right circle around him, man. As soon as he's another person, as soon as he saw those big zeros, he just accepted anything. And he lost before the fight even begun.
Exactly.
So a lot of people might say, you're not giving Fury his just due. Is a reason for that. The reason why I'm not giving Fury his just due, the reason why I don't give Canelo their full just due is because these guys don't win fights outright. They win them, but they're not winning the fights outright. So I can't give them the Floyd Mayweather treatment or the Errol Spence or the Muhammad Ali. I can't do that because I know I've been watching boxing. Know that most of the fights they get in, they win before the fight even begins. Man.
Yep.
And so much they get so much leeway. Any other fighter who had to stop the fight because they got an illegal glove on is banned for boxing. But Tyson Fury still get the fight. And Canelo gonna pop for PDs how many times? But he still get the fight. And nobody gonna say nothing. Big Baby can't fight.
Yeah, you see what they did to Big Titty Miller. They basically threw away the key and locked that bitch up. His ass can't even fight no more.
Boy, Big Baby can't fight.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
So that proves a fundamental point. But see, here's the thing, and I want to amplify the points that you're making here. Canelo Alvarez, we have to look at his last fight, fast 5 fights. This shit gonna make people laugh. His last fight, he fought a fucking Billy Saunders. In that fight that he fought Billy fucking Saunders, he fought a Billy Saunders that fought a journeyman prior. And Billy Saunders was removed from boxing for a number of years. Remember, Billy Saunders was touted as a guy that was going to fight Demetrius Andrade. He's lucky because if he would have fought Demetrius Andrade at that time, Demetrius Andrade would beat the shit out of him, and Canelo would have had to fight Demetrius Andrade instead. You see how boxing is such a political thing? Mm-hmm. I honestly believe they did what they did to BJ Saunders to screw Demetrius Andrade's route so that Canelo couldn't have him as a mandatory. But that's another topic, neither here nor there. The bottom line is he went tooth and nail with a journeyman. Canelo's always looking for vantage points. Canelo's like, oh, he went tooth and nail with a journeyman, so I should be able to beat him. No. Then prior to that fight, he fights a Caleb Smith that didn't have a full 9 to 13 week training camp. This was during a COVID-filled year. Nobody paid attention to that. You know, in the COVID-filled year, boxing was like taboo. People couldn't be around people. People couldn't box. People had to wear masks. They had to do. That was when all of the beginning of that nuance started. And Caleb Smith was telling you guys, I didn't have a full training camp. They didn't pay attention to that shit. They didn't care. Then let's go right before that. This motherfucker fights a butt of all sparring jokes in Anvil Yildirim. This is not type of fighters that a Canelo Alvarez is supposed to be stepping in the ring with, especially with the way that they prop him up. He should not be touching these fights. Earl the True Spence got out of a car crash and fought Danny Garcia. That was his fucking tune-up. That was the motherfucker he said tune his ass up. So this is what makes me laugh about the whole Canelo thing. Now let's go before that. He fights a Sergey Kovalev. That's the fourth fight I'm bringing up, who was 6 weeks removed from being concussed from an Anthony Yard fight. He didn't even have a full 9 weeks of recovery. And Sergey Kovalev told you before the fight that he was running away from Russian mobsters and he really needed the money. People don't pay attention to this shit. So he signed on the side. He signed on the dotted line. Whatever Canelo's terms was, he signed on the dotted line because he needed that money. Because if he didn't have that money, he would have been, right now we would have been talking about Sergey Kovalev 6 feet deep. That's what we've been talking about right now. Then let's go before that fight. He fights the cancer patient that has recovered out of remission in Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs takes the pay to lose because Daniel Jacobs also had a son at that time. They don't talk about this shit. Do your fucking research. His son at the time had issues and was basically at the hospital with hospital bills and all of this other shit. And Canelo and them knew this motherfucker need the money. So we don't want him at his best because we saw the way he performed against Triple G. Hell no, we don't want that fucking Danny Jacobs. We don't want him 186 fucking pounds coming in fully rehydrated up. So we gonna take that away. And you know what they also did? They told Andre Rozier. I'm gonna tell you some shit, Ross. Controversially, they told Andre Rozier to tell Danny Jacobs, but Andre Rozier was in on it. He had to play stupid. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? They told him to tell Danny Jacobs don't switch. If you notice in that fight, when Danny Jacobs got out of the fucking southpaw and he went into orthodox, he landed a fucking 8-piece combination on Canelo that woke his ass up. And then after that, he went right back to that bullshit. See, people don't pay attention to that. Could you imagine if he switched to orthodox and he was able to really fight and be fully rehydrated? Canelo would have got exposed. They basically handcuffed Daniel Jacobs. Mm-hmm. These are the last 5 fights that this motherfucker's fought. And if I have to go even further, and I'd have to talk about Liam Smith, there was a fucking dud. Amir Khan, a fucking dud. This is what Canelo's fought. But y'all want to sit here and tell me that Canelo Alvarez is this supposed boxing superstar, but he's always fighting fights that are subpar. How the fuck is he number 1 pound for pound? To be number 1 pound for pound, you either have to be fighting great competition or you got to be in championship bouts. Floyd Mayweather went through a string of 16 straight championship fights. 16 straight. We're not talking about no fucking tune his ass up. None of that shit. 16 fucking straight, and he was 26-0 total out of that shit. But he went 16 straight. But you guys want to give him controversy. Canelo Alvarez fights a Triple G. Check this out, Ross. That was 36 years old. I'm glad Surgeon of Death said it. It had no special effects up and down. Do you know that he stripped Triple G of that prime? When Triple G was in his prime, Canelo was ducking him. Canelo was like, nah, we got to do catch weight. We can't do it exactly at 154. We got to do it at 152. And then they waited until Triple G got old as fucking dirt, and then they finally fought him. Miguel Cotto was a banana peel away from the fucking grave when he fought him. Let's just be honest here, man. Let's fucking be honest. Sugar Shane Mosley was a banana peel away from the fucking grave. Floyd took everything out of that motherfucker with them right hand leads. Floyd gave him 1,000 right hand leads, and it was the same punch. Floyd is so disrespectful. That fight, Floyd threw the same punch over and over and over again to basically make Sugar Shane Mosley understand that you would never in your life hit me with a good shot like that. That was disrespectful what Floyd did. It was the same punch over and over again. He threw it 1,000 times, and it landed a damn near 1,000 times. But this Sugar Shane Mosley, of one banana peel away from the grave, he fought him. They gave him credit. Canelo Alvarez fought this one gonna make you laugh, dog. He fought a Alfredo Angulo. What the fuck is that? And Alfredo Angulo was actually landing shots on this motherfucker. That's how I know Canelo's so overrated. This whole head movement, they talking about foot movement. The motherfucker's overrated. Because if you learn from Floyd, you shouldn't have went tooth and nail with Triple G. That Floyd said is no special effects up and down. Alfredo Angulo should not be landing no damn shots on you. Here's the other black fighter. We don't talk about it enough, Tom Ross. I know you know the history behind it. EJ88, I know you know it. Surgeon of Death, Ron 501, I know you guys know it. James Kirkland, you know what they did to him? They basically paid Ann Bishop money to not train him. Because they knew if Ann Bishop was going to be there, he was going to be a fucking pit bull. I mean, come on, man. They do all kinds of shit to give this motherfucker a vantage point. If you notice in James Kirkland's career, he has never fought without Ann Bishop. Ann Bishop has made him that unlimited pressure pit bull. But for some reason, in the Canelo Alvarez fight, she was nowhere to be found because she took one thing about us. When I say us, I'm talking about people that look like Ross, people that look like me, people that look like me, people that look like a Marnie Rivera Frazier, people that look like EJ88. The one bad thing about us as black people, we will sell our fucking souls. Monty Brown is proving it for a fucking dollar. We would do that shit so quick, fast, in a hurry, like you motherfucking PS. And that's what Ann Bishop did. She was like, damn, they give me a hefty ass 7-figure check. I ain't training this motherfucker. Right. So that Canelo can look good. And then Canelo knocks him out and has the knockout reel of the fucking year. When has James Kirkland ever been put on his back? Go look at every one of James Kirkland's fights. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. If I start talking about Canelo, I can pick this motherfucker apart. Left and fucking right. And then at the same time, oh yeah, he see Showbiz, the adult sold his soul. Yeah, he has fucking sold. That motherfucker been sold his soul. Yeah. That motherfucker been sold his soul. A lot of these motherfuckers have sold their soul, man. Bottom line is they don't tell you these ugly truths about Canelo. Me and Ross been telling y'all, Canelo and Manny Pacquiao are the two most overrated boxers in boxing. But see, Terrence Bud Crawford has been getting a lot of traction as of late. I've been putting him right there with these motherfuckers. That's why I can't wait till Spence Hagler to Hearns this motherfucker. Because once that happens, like Ross said eloquently, that Hearns been hanging out with Terrence Bud Crawford. He had me laughing with that shit. That Hearns been hanging out with him, ironically, in the camp for years. That shit is true. It's gonna be Hagler versus fucking Hearns. And when Spence cripples Terrence Bud Crawford, y'all gonna know right there he was over fucking rated too. Because if you get dropped by Mean Machine, you have no right to be in the fight with Spence. I'm just keeping it real with you. Bottom line is, these guys are not the fighters that you guys think that they are. But see, what it also perpetuates and what it shows as a bigger picture is they hate Floyd Mayweather. And if you look at this, look at the common denominator here. Floyd gave the blueprint on how to expose Canelo. That's why Canelo don't touch black elite fighters, because black elite fighters can just put the videotape on, see what Floyd did. They're basically not Floyd Mayweather, but they can bring some because they have elite genetics. See,
Right.
as black fighters, we have elite genetics. We have that over these other boxers. It is what it is. And then we train on another fucking stupid level. We just different. Anybody heard anything about sparring wars? If you ever talk to Mexican community fan bases, European community fan base, UK over the pond motherfuckers, they don't even know what sparring wars is. They don't. Sparring wars is the type of shit that we do to each other. Sometimes we in sparring wars, we shorten our boxing career because we're sharpening iron so much in sparring that when we step into the ring, we want that shit to be easy. We want that shit to be easy fucking peasy. But sometimes some guys shorten their career because they spar too hard. Lamont Peterson was one of those guys. Spar too fucking hard and shorten his boxing career over that shit. But a guy like Spence, a guy like Floyd that's built a certain way, they can do that shit in their sleep and still step into the ring like it's a picnic. It's just the way it works. That's just the way it rolls. When it's all said and done, when we sit here and we look at Canelo Alvarez, we also have to look at this, Tom Ross, and then you got the mic here. Why hasn't Canelo Alvarez fought Jamal Charlo? Jamal Charlo's been calling his ass out since 2013. This is the most disrespect I've ever seen in boxing. An 8.5-year duckage. Nobody talks about it but us. And why not fight Demetrius Andrade, who's an easier fucking fight to have? Demetrius Andrade is with DAZN, the bullshit app. They both, you know, Canelo Alvarez is no longer under Oscar De La Hoya. He's being run by Eddie Hearn. Who the fuck is running Demetrius Andrade? Isn't it fucking Eddie Hearn? So why can't that fight happen? This is my fundamental problem with Canelo Alvarez. And then you know what he says at the end here, Tom Ross? And then you got the mic. He says when Canelo Alvarez supposedly dispatches Caleb Plant, which I don't believe that's going to be the case, then they're going to look at Jamal Charlo, Demetrius Andrade. Mike is yours.
Well, the thing about it is when you're deemed to be that hope, you are protected.
Mm-hmm.
These are some things to look at. If Canelo ever gets dropped in a fight, he will get a long count. They will try to help him. They're going to try to help him regain consciousness if he ever gets dropped. They're never going to wave off a Canelo fight. He's going to get the benefit down.
Yep.
If it's a close fight that he could lose, he's probably going to get the victory.
Yep.
He's going to have all the advantages in the fight. Because right now they can't really get a great white middleweight, but the closest they could get is one that has white genetics.
Facts.
Canelo. So Canelo really is a so-called Mexican with white privilege.
Yep.
And because he has that white privilege, he could get certain amenities that most even Mexican fighters can't get.
Facts.
He pops on the PED and he don't even get suspended.
Yep.
They ain't do that for Benavidez.
Nope.
Because even the Mexican people, not all of them, some of them have an affinity towards white supremacy themselves.
Facts.
I see them get treated like shit at work and they still be sucking white dick. And they got a problem with black people and we don't do nothing to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a slave complex, man.
Yep.
And so because they have that affinity towards white people, they got an affinity towards Canelo because he looks like a white man.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we're witnessing in a white privilege, we're witnessing a guy being protected. It is what it is. We're seeing a boxer being protected from potential losses.
Yep.
The only reason why that fight was taken with Mayweather is because Mayweather was a cash cow. It was going to make Canelo's fight. It was going to make his name bigger. People, no one really knew who Canelo was. Didn't give a fuck about Canelo until you fought Mayweather.
Facts.
But if they would have been switched places, if Canelo would have been the established star, and Mayweather would have been on the rise, Canelo would have never fought Mayweather.
Facts.
He would never fought him. That was a fight he went into knowing that he couldn't win because he knew he couldn't. He knew he couldn't beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. Man.
Nah.
He knew he couldn't beat man. Not on his best day, he couldn't beat Floyd. But he thought maybe I can land a lucky punch. But he didn't go in with the confidence he goes in there when he fights these guys as handicapped. You know?
Yep.
So that and that the dichotomy and the what's the word I'm looking for? The complication with regular fight fans is they're
22.
They're looking to be entertained.
Yep.
Solely entertained.
Yep.
And they're taking these fights for face value.
Yep.
Not knowing what's going into all these fights, man.
Exactly.
And we have a problem with always holding our people to a higher standard than everybody else. And we need to hold everybody else to the same standard so we can see how they feel in comparison.
Facts.
But even black people will be like, yeah, Floyd was great, but Floyd never fought. Never fought Paul. What's his name? Paul. Some nigga named Paul that got put in that got paralyzed. He didn't fight him.
Oh, so talking about Paul Smith.
Yeah, Paul, whoever, the one who lost to Sergio Martinez.
Sergio Martinez, yeah, Paul Smith.
Yeah. He never fought him, so he's not great.
No, Paul Williams.
You can't fight everybody. And you can't look for that one person, one fighter in that fight and say, oh, he ducked him. That's not how it goes.
Yeah.
Truth be told, him and Floyd wasn't in the same class. They was never in this. They was never in the same weight class. This a duck is when you're in the same weight class, you're both elite, and you never fight.
Yep.
Or when you are a mandatory to somebody and they don't fight you. Because they're mandated to fight you, and somehow they still didn't fight you.
Yep.
Well, Paul Williams was always a weight class bigger than Floyd. Or two, he was two weight classes bigger than Floyd.
Yeah. Yep.
So Floyd was supposed to jump 2 weight classes to fight Paul Williams when he's still trying to prove that he deserved to be on 140.
Facts.
It don't make no sense. When he fought Gotti, people were saying he should have fought Gotti right away until he smoked Gotti. Then they said, oh, Gotti was beat up. Gotti had too many wars. But before the fight happened, they said Gotti was going to knock him out.
Well, see, Armani Rivera Frazier said they said Maidana beat him too. The worst one is Castillo. They always think Castillo. Floyd had a fucking shoulder injury and he still won that fight. He didn't lose that fight. What the fuck are they talking about?
Most people that say Maidana won, they're just trolling. Because Maidana won. Most people that say Castillo won didn't even watch that fight.
Nope.
If you watch the fight, ask them, okay, Castillo won. Name me which rounds Castillo won. They're like, I don't know which rounds. I just know that he won. Because if you look at ConcuBox said that. But they didn't watch the fight.
Exactly.
There's no part of that fight where Floyd Mayweather ended up controlling the fight. Castillo was easy work.
Yeah.
The thing about it is you have HBO typecast, 8 people covering the fight working for HBO, telling you something that's not happening.
Yep.
They said Castillo lands a flurry. You're watching a fight, there's no flurry.
Nope.
But if you Mexican and you drunk, you want to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they make a controversy when they do the ConcuBox numbers, and the ConcuBox numbers is saying the fight is closer than what the judges are saying.
Yep.
They make it controversial because they always make fights controversial that don't need to be. But if you watch that fight, Floyd beat him easy. And if you watch the fight between Maidana,
yep,
that's not a close fight. It's an ugly fight. An ugly fight and a close fight It's two different things.
Mm-hmm.
If we're being honest, just off boxing, technical boxing, the Zab Judah fight was closer than the Maidana fight.
Way fucking closer.
Zab Judah was actually giving Floyd a go of it for the
In the
first
first half
rounds.
of the fight. In the first
For the
half.
first
First 6 rounds, that shit was going, boy.
They
Shit, that
actually
shit was
was
going.
in there thumping. Then Floyd started to pick him. Floyd started to adapt, and he started to frustrate Zab, and Zab lost control. So he lost control of the fight.
Well, Tom
But
Ross,
Zab,
why do you think I'll add? Why do you think I always say Tony Romo? I always say James Harden is the Tony Romo and the Zab Judah of basketball. Where do you think I got all that shit from? Because Floyd said Zab Judah gasses out, dog.
because he gives everything he has in the first 6 rounds.
Yep.
But one thing I could give Zab, like I can't give Tony Romo enough, Zab was at the pinnacle at once. And Tony Romo never made it. Zab was undisputed. He was an undisputed champion.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's true. I give him that.
I say all that to say, a lot of what people say is what the media said about the fight, and not necessarily what happened in the fight. Because they didn't really like Zab much, so they never fought for Zab. They never made excuses for Zab when Zab lost. But they'll say Maidana maybe won, or it was close, or they'll say Castillo maybe won, it was close. But those fights weren't even close, man. Those fights wasn't close. Some of the closest fights Floyd had a close fight with the drunken master dude that he ended up having to knock out. That was from Detroit. I forget his name. Burton. Him and Chop Corley was going at it. He had some close fights, but the fights that they say wasn't even that was easy work.
His hardest fight was against a guy who already has so many losses. Emmanuel. I can't think of his, there you go. I can't think of his last name. But Floyd, out of his own mouth, said that motherfucker gave me hell. That motherfucker gave me hell.
Yeah.
He said that, and then Floyd also said Miguel Cotto. Because that Miguel Cotto fight was tough. Miguel was landing some fucking shots on Floyd. That shit was tough. I'm not gonna lie. That shit was tough.
I like about Miguel Cotto in that fight, it was a clean fight.
Yes, it was clean.
The dirty shit that Maidana was doing to make it interesting. He was fighting cleanly. And Floyd had to rise to the occasion and take the fight last 3 rounds. But they don't. Maidana Puerto. I mean, not Maidana. Cotto's Puerto Rican. So by genetics, he's a black man. He a real Puerto Rican, Taino Indian. By genetics, he's a black man. So they gonna treat him like he's a black man. They gonna act like that. When you watch the Cotto fight and you listen to what they're saying, they're covering the fight like Floyd beating the hell out of Cotto. And really, it's a chess match. But when you watch the Castillo fight, they're covering the fight like it's close. A lot of it is you guys being easily moved by what the people say, and not. And
like Floyd said, when these guys fight me, they fight me at their best. If you look at the way Cotto trained for Floyd versus when Cotto trained for fucking Canelo, it's not the same, dog. It's not the same.
No,
it ain't the same. It's not the same product.
Well, first of all,
Cotto fought Pacquiao too, right?
Yeah.
Not the fucking same.
He fought Pacquiao. Pacquiao Cotto fight don't even count. He fought it don't, because he fought Pacquiao at 147.
There you go. And he's never and at that point he was never 147 at that point. He basically got weight fucking drained to go down to 147. So I don't even count that one. But when we sit there and look at the Miguel Cotto that fought Floyd, that was the best trained Miguel Cotto. That was the most in shape Miguel Cotto. He was ready. Miguel Cotto's boxing ability was off the fucking charts when he fought Floyd. Off the fucking charts. Because he knew who he was in the ring with.
The Miguel Cotto who fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. beats Pacquiao, and he beats Canelo Alvarez. Easy. Easy. Because, first of all, one thing people don't give Floyd the credit for, Floyd don't ask for unfair advantages in the fight. He asked for even playing fields. So he didn't have an unfair advantage. Because Floyd could have told Cotto, I'm the cash cow. I know you got a 154-pound belt. Fuck it, we fight at 147 if you want this money. Nah, Floyd went up as a cash cow and fought Cotto at 154.
Exactly.
Canelo will never do that.
Yeah, and in the Canelo fight, they keep saying he weight drained him. Canelo was already 154.
Canelo was fighting at 150. Canelo was at 154, fighting at 152. Canelo fought
exactly.
Floyd
I was
at
just
the
about to say that. That's 2 fucking pounds. That's 2 fucking pounds. How do you weight fucking draining? That's bullshit.
He knows it's not a weight drain. He never fought truly at 154 when he was at 154. Canelo always fought at 152.
That's true.
So Floyd just said, "No, we're gonna fight at 152, like you always fight at."
Mm-hmm.
So Canelo was weight draining everybody else, and Floyd made him fight at 152. So it wasn't like he wasn't used to fighting at 152.
That's true.
He just got whooped.
Great fucking point.
He just got whooped.
That's it.
It wouldn't matter what weight class they fought. The way Floyd fought Canelo, it was over with, man.
And it revealed the strength that Floyd had, because Canelo fight night blew up to 175. Floyd was barely 152, but Floyd clearly he had to be throwing something to keep him off of him. That's what people don't understand. He had to throw something that keep him off. So it shows you Floyd's strength. Although Floyd is not knocking you out, there's a stingy power there that's you gotta fucking respect.
Floyd has the power that will give you brain damage. People think brain damage is just the Deontay Wilder power. The power Deontay Wilder has, he'll give you a concussion. He'll put you away. But the brain damage is the cumulative head trauma.
Yep.
The cumulative head trauma. What gives football players brain damage is not that one hit.
Nope.
It's the cumulative hits to the head.
Exactly.
Floyd hits you with enough power and enough times that you never the same again.
Exactly.
And you get in the same spot over and over and over again.
Over and over.
If Floyd didn't have power, then Canelo would just walk through him like he walked through Amir Khan. He walked right through Amir Khan. But he couldn't walk through Floyd like that.
Yep.
But what they want to do is they want to always emasculate or feminize the unapologetic black man. So when Floyd in the fight, he don't got power is what's it called, a code word.
Yep.
It's what's it called, a code word. It's like taking the masculinity, but it's a code word.
Yeah, and Canelo at the end of the fight, I didn't feel his power. Motherfucker, you got embarrassed. Look at your face. You didn't feel his power, but your face was limped up. Your face was telling us a different story. You didn't feel his power, but your head was snapping. You didn't feel his power, but you were sitting there getting exposed. See, this is the thing that makes me laugh. Right. They're telling one thing, but the actions is saying another thing altogether.
Because if you raise in a family to where moral victories matter, then you'll always make an excuse for your losses.
Yep.
So if you are in a family that's a part of the genetic pool or a part of the nationality of people who are just happy to be in the ring with a superior fighter, and who's just happy to lose to a superior fighter, as long as they get a moral victory, you will say anything to try to take the stain off of what is happening. Yep. They all say that. My Diamond had the nerve to say he didn't feel Floyd's power. Well, how come in the middle of the ring, Floyd was backing you up with the body shots?
Facts.
You didn't feel his power. He literally could not take Floyd's body shots, and Floyd was 20 pounds lighter than him.
We saw him. He was earling. He was earling out of his mouth.
He was crunching in half. So Floyd hits hard, man.
It's like, you know who reminds me of Floyd, but bigger version? Andre Ward. They keep telling you Andre Ward ain't got no fucking power. But if you realize it, he turned Sergey Kovalev into a drunken master after those 2 fights. Literally, Sergey Kovalev became an alcoholic on excess after those 2 fights. As a matter of fact, Andre Ward took his soul so much that the very next fight against Eliodor Alvarez, he lost that motherfucker.
Right.
And Andre Ward was laughing. Andre Ward had his little. I gotta give Ward credit. At that moment when he was stunned, remember he had his little Floyd moment when they were interviewing him. He said, "I mentally fractured him, dog." He was cocky with it, though. He said, I mentally screwed it." And then at the end of the fight against Eliodor Alvarez, they asked Andre Ward. Andre Ward said, "Well, you step in the ring with me, you are gonna no longer be the same fucking fighter." And then you saw that he lost. He had to fight this motherfucker again to reclaim the title. That tells you the hangover effect when you fight a great fighter, an airfield fighter. This is what they do. They take shit out of you, man. They just take it out of you.
The body blows are cumulative, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're cumulative, and we're so used to people. We're so used to people only claiming power if it looks like Mike Tyson, or if it looks like George Foreman or Deontay Wilder. There's different types of power. Errol Spence has a different type of power. It's a cumulative power, and they never overcommit with their punches.
Mm-hmm.
That's you're like, yo, they don't have the one punch power. Normally, when you see the one punch power, it's a guy that overcommitting and throwing everything into that punch.
Mm-hmm.
If you know how to throw a punch, if you overcommit, we all can have one punch power. But when you always ready to defend yourself after you throw shots, you're not gonna never have that one because you're not throwing a punch and going all into it. You know what I mean? You're throwing the shot and you're back catching shots. But the cumulative with that punishment is where the beauty of the power, because it's like you don't see it, but it's happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's happening, and you didn't notice to like the guy's next fight. Damn, dude got beat up. You're not even the same fighter no more.
My question to you, what you saying? Do you think Caleb Plant beats Canelo? Canelo is not. I've said it already. He's not legendary. Canelo is ordinary. So Caleb Plant, if he has the right mindset, Caleb Plant listened to all the instructions Andre Ward is dropping gems and jewels on his ass about, Virgil Hunter, because I hear they're in his corner. So if he listens to them completely, bend the knee to them completely, and take the tools that James Toney has taught him, because James Toney has taught him how to hold, how to roughhouse, how to get shots off. If you go look at the Fight Hype videos, you'll see what James Toney has taught him. If he takes all those tools, and here's my biggest thing with Caleb Plant. With Canelo, you can never take no round off. You got to have your foot on the gas the whole fucking time. When Caleb Plant fights Canelo, because of the boxing judging gifting decisions that's going to be associated with this fight, Caleb Plant virtually cannot have a moment where Caleb Plant is taking a round off. Every round, he got to go ballsy. He got to go balls out. So the biggest thing for Caleb Plant, and I'm hoping that he's working on it in the training camp, is Caleb Plant needs to make sure that his conditioning, that's my biggest thing for him. Because I watched his last fight, and in his last fight, he kind of bullshit on his conditioning. He won it, but now he's fighting Canelo, and it's for everything. His conditioning needs to be so on fucking point. Because the reason why I'm saying this is because he's a boxer. He likes to move around the ring. He likes to box the shit out of you. But to be a boxer and to move around the ring and to box the shit out of somebody, your conditioning and stamina has to be on fucking point. And if he can have that on point for 12 fucking rounds, Caleb Plant has the tools and the skills to beat Canelo Alvarez. I see him beating Canelo Alvarez from a boxing standpoint because Canelo Alvarez has problems against technical boxers. They don't call Caleb Plant sweet hands for no fucking reason. So does Caleb Plant have a great chance to win? Yes. But his conditioning got to be on fucking point, and he can't take no fucking rounds off. That's my assessment of it.
And here's one thing I like to add to that. Canelo Alvarez, this is the reason why I don't give Manny Pacquiao love. He pulled a Manny Pacquiao. He rejected the Olympic-style tester.
Yep.
And people be like, yo, you're not giving Canelo Alvarez the respect. You're not giving Tyson Fury. You're not giving Pacquiao the respect. Because these guys be cheating, man. Why the fuck you rejected an Olympic-style test? A PED test? You know what I'm saying? Why are you doing that? But you want to be celebrated as a great fighter. I can't celebrate you. I can say, yeah, you kept the victory and stop it there. I can't celebrate you because it's not on the up and up. Why would you reject that? If you're a clean fighter. Why are you rejecting an Olympic style test?
Yep.
Why? What do you got to hide?
Yep, that's facts.
The only way you can compete with elite fighters is because you gotta boost your stamina, and you do that with clenbuterol.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, Canelo look like he got stamina for days, and he never had stamina his whole career.
Nope.
We know what it is. So when I got a question, if what I saw is real, then I can't really show you love like that.
Exactly.
But I don't know if it's you or the clenbuterol. I can't show you love like that because I've seen it. I'm watching it with Errol Spence. I've seen it with Floyd. I know it can be done cleanly.
Yep.
If you put in the fucking work.
Yep.
I'm sorry, man.
Melanated Bear 713 is giving me that Ox vibe the way he's commenting. So I don't know if that's Ox, but that's the vibe that I'm getting. But I agree actually with that point with Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant should have not let the press continue after getting his eye injury. My biggest thing is with that is, when shit like that happens, that probably should have been a shutdown moment. But at the same time, Caleb Plant was trying to send a message to Canelo Alvarez to let him know through and through, because I could see that with Caleb Plant's body language, that I'm not afraid of you, man. I'm not startled by you. And to be honest with you, like I've said earlier, it's more his glasses that hit right here and cut him than anything, because Canelo didn't land no fucking punches. They keep saying Canelo landed 2 pieces on him. It was the glasses. He probably should have took his fucking glasses off.
You can't cut nobody with open hands. You can scratch them at the most.
I think he had. You know how they be having those expensive. That's why I don't know if you like that, Ross. Asante, I don't know. Your ass look like that. You got that hat on. You look like that older cat that probably wear those fucking glasses. There's certain glasses that are sharp. You know what I'm saying? Melanated Bear 713. If you Ox, you know what I'm talking about, because Ox be rocking like that too. There's certain glasses that are just so sharp, and it's fashionable, but I don't like it because when I put it on, I know that shit is irritable on my face.
Right.
So I wear glasses that is just comfortable.
Right.
And the glasses that fucking what's his name had, Plant, it was one of those fashion type of glasses. And I agree with Asante L. He should have just took the shit off. Because when you dealing with a press conference, anything can fucking happen. I like the way Floyd is. Floyd come into these press conferences ghetto. Floyd don't never come in these press conferences all sharp or whatever. If it's a big fight, he'll probably wear his little Gucci shirt or whatever. But Floyd don't never have no damn glasses on, no shit like that. Because he know he dealing with a weird motherfucker that might try to put something in his face or some weird shit like that. So Floyd come in bare and ready to go. That's what Caleb Plant should have done. No glasses on, come ready, especially after all that shit that you talked about Canelo. He should have just came ready, dog. But that's my opinion on it.
I don't really think Caleb Plant won. He won that press conference.
Oh, I believe he won it.
Yeah, I don't think nothing happened. He got scratched. So what? That was a scratch. That wasn't like a cut from a punch. A cut from a punch is the white meat. It go all the way to the bone.
Yeah.
It was a scratch. Like, okay, so since when we taking pride of somebody getting scratched?
Exactly.
And they were slapping each other because they didn't want to ruin the fight and throw punches. They were slapping each other. So since when do we take pride of somebody getting scratched and slap boxing? Like, who cares? The fact of the matter is, you never see Canelo in his feelings like that. He had him in his feelings.
He had him in his feelings. I'll give him that.
He also exposed him. Canelo called Andre a motherfucker.
Yep. You saw that.
When Caleb Plant called him that, he got upset. Want to know why?
Yep.
Canelo know what that word really means, that he says it in the
exactly.
racial. Motherfucker comes back from the slave days when they made black little boys have sex with relatives, anybody, and put masks over their face. That's where motherfucker comes from. Canelo knows that, and he knew that was an insult when he was saying it to Andre. But his little feelings got hurt when a white man said it to him. That's
Facts.
the problem. That's the problem. He got exposed. Because why is it so bad now? So you on the pedestal, you can say shit to Andre, but can't nobody say it to you.
Exactly.
He got under his skin. And I always respect Plant for that.
Yeah,
and
always.
now Canessa saying I've never been this upset going into a fight. I'm gonna try to hurt him. If Plant could stay on his bicycle, keep the jab out there and counter, he could beat Canelo because Canelo's not even thinking clearly. People really worried about that scratch. That scratch ain't shit.
It
ain't nothing. He slapped Canelo, and Canelo slapped him back.
Yep.
And then the glasses got taken up, he got scratched. But the problem is not so much what happened physically, it's the mental.
Yeah.
Caleb Plant was in Canelo's head.
Yep. Living rent free. I agree with that. I've alluded to that and talked about it. Yep.
Because they just exchanged slaps. That's it. Canelo didn't do nothing special. People made all these videos like Canelo landed a 3-piece. Where?
No, where? He ain't landed shit.
He landed a 3-piece with bare knuckles, and Caleb Plant was just still standing.
Yeah, and the slaps that he threw, them shits didn't even halfway land, dog. Them it was like wind in the air, man. You know, the only thing that messed Plant up was his own glasses that messed him up. But again, he's wearing fashionable glasses and shit like that. But like you said, to me, that cut is nothing significant. But what I like about Caleb Plant is just he got this special type of confidence. Money can't buy that, and mindsets can't buy that. He just believes in himself. And he made this comment at the end of the presser, and he said, I'm not going to be trying to sit here and convince. And that's what these other fighters have done. And Caleb Plant is not doing that. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince Canelo Alvarez fans the unconvincible. I'm just going to go step into the ring and do what I got to do. Now, I don't know if Caleb Plant's going to get the job done because we already know the controversy that's associated behind Canelo. But, man, I'm going to tell you right now, Caleb Plant getting upset, myself, you, Asante L., Melanated Bear 713, everybody, Armani, Salome, all of us would be sitting here and jumping for fucking joy, man. Surgeon of Death, we be jumping for joy. And the first motherfucker I would be clowning is Monty fucking Brown. Because now you don't have a narrative to stand on. That's why I want Canelo to get exposed, because once he gets exposed, these motherfuckers ain't got no narrative to stand on no more. Now, why you think I'm wanting this shit so bad? So that these motherfuckers can sit there and get put right back in their fucking place. So what, you gonna talk about Canelo? You can't talk about him no more. Right. Once Canelo's exposed, and this is the funny part about it. You want something to laugh, Asante L? You want something to laugh, Surgeon of Death? Canelo is the last of a dying fucking breed. He's the last of the Mohicans. And when I mean the last of the Mohicans, I mean it. There is no Mexican superstar. That's why Mexican community fan base want to protect this motherfucker so bad. Because they know once he goes down, they ain't got no Mexican superstar. We got Earl Spence. We got the Charlos. We got Gervonta Tank Davis. We got litany of black fighters. We got this young guy named Jared Anderson. People paying attention to the heavyweight division. Asante, I'm going to give you a new heavyweight. They're still talking about Wilder. This motherfucker, Jared Anderson, I know you've been seeing that shit, Tom Ross. This motherfucker been knocking motherfuckers out. He's young. And they need to be looking his fucking way. And as a matter of fact, he fought that night that Wilder fucking fought. We have a litany of guys that's coming as motherfuckers are going. They don't have that. Juan Manuel Marquez is fucking retired. Julio Cesar Chavez has been fucking retired. There is no fucking Hector Chavez. They ain't none Hector Camacho. They ain't none of that shit no more. All these motherfuckers are gone. They are what we call ghosts. All that's left is Canelo Alvarez. And once his ass go down, that's it. You saw what Spence did to their little Mikey. That's why they mad. The little Mikey, Spence mangled that motherfucker. So now they lean it. And David Benavidez, I don't consider him Mexican because David Benavidez is more black than anything. The way they treat him, they show you that. Yeah. They treat him as such. They don't treat him like Mexican. So I don't count him in their fold. But the bottom line is, once he goes down, that's it. They are fucking done. So that's why they're so protective. And if you notice in the comment sections, that's why they get in their feelings anytime you say anything about Canelo. And that's why they start saying you being racist, you doing this, you doing that. Because they know once that motherfucker goes down, that is it.
It's over. And the reason why I feel like I knew Plant had a chance is because before they got the Callum Smith fight, they were trying to get the Caleb Plant fight, and they were trying to do the same thing that Caleb did with Smith. They were trying to get the Caleb Plant fight with a 5-week camp.
Yep.
And Caleb Plant was like, man, why are you trying to fight me without me getting a whole camp? He said, no, I'm good.
Yep.
So they tried to get the pay to lose, and he rejected it. So he wants to. Most people don't reject the Canelo Alvarez pay to lose, because when they reject it, they know the boxing community is gonna say that they beat Canelo Alvarez, and he didn't care. He said, "I'm not taking a fight that put me at a disadvantage." He rejected the fight. So now, because he rejected that pay to lose, I think he got a chance. Because if he wanted to fight for the money, he could have been did that.
Yeah,
he could have been got that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's being done at PBC, so no excuses. Because Al Heyman is controlling everything. Al Heyman don't cheat his fucking fighters. If Caleb Plant loses, this right here would actually be for Canelo Alvarez a first quality win in fucking 10 years.
Right.
I mean, this is sad. They sit here and put this guy pound for pound number one. If he wins this fight, this is his first quality win in 10 fucking years. How is he pound for pound number one? When I look at that pound for pound list, it is laughable. Earl the True Smith should be number one. This is my top five. Everybody can have their own fucking top five, and I won't be mad about your five. However you flip it, I won't be mad as long as you got Spence in that damn top five. I won't be fucking mad. Matter of fact, Spence got to be in your top three. I got Spence number one.
Spence and the
I used to have Jamel, but since that last fucking fight with Jamel, even though he's lineal, I got his brother. I got Jamal at number two. I don't care if people gonna say, man, that's controversial. Jamal beat the shit out of Sergey Derevchenko, a guy who Canelo Alvarez and Triple G was trying to duck. Triple G eventually fought him, but this guy right here, Jamal Charlo, cleaned his fucking clock. So to me, Jamal Charlo's number two. Then I have Jamel Charlo at number three. I got Tyson Fury at number three, because Tyson Fury, I got to give him the third fight against Deontay Wilder, so I'm gonna give him that. I got Gervonta Tank Davis at number fucking four, and I got Jamel Charlo at number five. That's my top five right there. And I never had no damn Tyson Fury, but because of what happened in the third fight, I booped his ass up to number three, because really he was like number six. And if Jamel Charlo didn't lose, Jamel Charlo would have still been in the top. Not lose, but I consider it a loss, even though it was a draw, because Jamel Charlo basically got what's called the twin curse, talking shit about his brother, and he ended up in a controversial fucking draw. That's what happens when you talk shit about your twin. So I put him number five. So that's my top five. Spence one, Jamal Charlo number two, Tyson Fury number three, Gervonta Tank Davis number four, and Jamel Charlo number five. That's my top fucking five. Now, motherfuckers will sit there, they'll laugh it off, they'll say, well, who's sick and all that. Man, I don't give a flying fuck. That's my top five.
Yeah. I haven't thought about my top five. I haven't thought about it, but I could agree. I consider Fury a cheat, so I wouldn't put him in there. But yeah. But other than that, yeah, I can agree with that. I can even agree with somebody.
The only reason why I put Fury, the only reason why I shot Fury in number three, we all know how the first two fights went down. We already know. Let's not fool ourselves. But that third fight, that shit was fair for both fighters. All Wilder had to do was just not do horsehair. That's it. If they didn't do horsehair, it probably would have been a different outcome. But Wilder was able to establish from the jump. He just gassed the fuck out. He had too much weight on himself. He was 204, close to 240 pounds. Wilder should have just been what he's always been, between 200 and 210. That's what Wilder's best at. 205, lean, ready to go, athletic, explosive. If Wilder was at that weight and that size, Wilder would have been able to connect and do everything that he does best. But bottom line is their game plan was to get him as heavy as fucking possible, and that's exactly what they chose to do. And they both knocked each other down a considerable amount of times. The way the fight was going from a fighting standpoint, Tyson Fury just won the fucking third fight, and it is what it is. And
Yeah.
now,
I can see why you
and
do
now
it.
because Wilder's damage from the second fight mentally, he just added more to that mental damaging. So I do believe that, like you said, Tom Ross, Wilder has a potential to bounce back. But you know, boxing. Floyd has said this. Earl Spencer said. Andre Ward. At the highest levels, when you get mentally fractured, it's tough. And Wilder's been mentally fractured back to back. That's tough, bro. That's very tough to come back from. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can come back from it.
It'll be interesting. Like I said, I can see why you saying what you saying. You have put some thought into. I would just replace Fury with Usyk, because reason why I would do that is because you do have to take consideration Usyk is now a unified heavyweight champion with 3 belts. You know what I'm saying? You got to put that into it. Me personally, I don't want to put either one of them in it, because I don't feel like Usyk has done enough at heavyweight. But because we're talking pound for pound here, but out of the sake of taking into consideration what just happened in the last month, I replace Fury with Usyk. As you know, I am biased against Fury. Yeah. I am. I'm open with my bias. I'm open. Yeah. Just like I'm biased against Canelo. I'm biased, but it ain't just non-black fighters. I'm biased against Big Baby Miller, and I'm biased against what's the boy name that's always talking about Wilder that cheated too?
Oh, Dillian White.
I'm biased against him. I'm biased against cheats. Yep. I just am. But I definitely got Devontae Tank Davis in there. Errol Spence is my number one. Because Errol Spence is doing all the right things, man. And when he came back and took the Garcia fight, instead of taking the tune-up, that made him my number one.
Yep, and I don't penalize him. I don't penalize him for a torn retina, because we all know Ugas boxed up Manny Pacquiao, Spence would have killed him. We already know that. So let's just keep that established.
You penalize somebody for a real torn retina. That's something that will make you blind if you don't. If it's a real injury, you can't penalize them for a torn retina. Because if they make that worse, they might be able to see out their eye again. So.
Yep, and Melanated Bear 713 is right. Crawford is overrated. Crawford not even in my top 10, man. Crawford ain't been in my top 10 forever now, because when you fight the Juan Molinas and the Raimundo Beltran, they don't talk about this shit. This motherfucker has not fought anybody. The Jeff Horn, Amir Khan, Kell Brook, Mean Machine. Come on, man. None of these fights are quality fights, man. So Crawford, to me, has never been in this pound for pound top 10 like they keep saying that Crawford. These skills that they keep saying Terrence Crawford have, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't fucking see it.
If you listen to the LGBC, or if you listen to everybody else, they trying to make it seem like Crawford and Floyd on the same level.
Exactly.
That's how they try to spin it. Like Crawford and skill. They try to make sure like Crawford and Floyd the same level skill wise.
Yeah.
That's further from it's so far from the truth. Think about it. We see not even in toughness. Yeah. We see Floyd get hit with some of the hardest shots for somebody that small to get hit. And not fall. Floyd would have walked right through a Mean Machine, man.
Right through him. Never would have got dropped by no damn Mean Machine. Never.
Dropped by Mean Machine. Mean Machine would have landed that one punch, and Floyd would have beat the hell out of him for landing that punch.
Man, Andre Wood did the most.
Floyd get mad because you
shit, Ross. He told my bad.
Floyd get mad because you land punches on him. If you land a good punch on Floyd, he try to embarrass you. He get upset because you had a nerve to land a punch on him. He was like, you land a punch on me? You want to try to knock me out? All right. I'm gonna fuck him up for that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't see how they even comparing the two. When Crawford's been hurt damn near every fight.
Every fucking fight. One-legged Jose Benavidez almost beat him, dog. Almost fucking beat him. And Spence told him that. You almost lost to a one-legged hobbit. How the fuck you think you was gonna beat me, Bud Light? You too light in the caboose. I will straight up stop you, man. Spence told him that to his face 3 fucking times. And the number 3 is confirmation. Confirmation that I will stop your Bud Light ass. When it's all said and done, Terrence Bud Crawford, the LDBC are sitting here begging Terrence Bud Crawford's attention. These motherfuckers apologize for Bud after Bud has shown them time and time again that he's a coon buffoon, that he will not uncoon and buffoon for them, that he will listen to his slave master, Bob Arum. They make excuses for this guy. And then they want to spit on Spence and say, you see now, Spence, it look like he don't want to fight. Bullshit.
You want to know why they doing that, man? They doing that out of spite of Mayweather, man. And yep. I don't want you to be like, Ross, there you go again, always making everything about Mayweather. But truth be told, Mayweather just retired. And the last 20 years was his. So a lot of things is because of Mayweather, whether people admit it or not. And Errol Spence is from the Mayweather tree. He just is. He's from the Mayweather tree. He's from 2 trees. He's a hybrid. He's from the Mayweather tree and he's from the Hagler tree. And he's getting treated the same. And because he's from those trees, they have a fundamental problem with Floyd Mayweather Jr. LTBC do. They hate everything he does.
Yep.
So they want Bud to be great because this is what they really want to do. They want to say Bud better than Floyd, but they can't say it.
No.
So they want they fake Errol Spence fans. They don't like Errol Spence.
No, they're not real Errol Spence fans. And the counter what Armani's saying here, even if he's not the one saying it as the leader, he's co-signing an agreement because a lot of his sublet LDBC mites, I've heard it out of their mouths. They apologize for Terrence Bud Crawford. They apologize for him. They're begging him. Well, Bud, we ain't got nothing against you. We the new media. You could be interviewed by. Fuck trying to apologize to this motherfucker. He's already revealed to you he's a coon buffoon. So why are you apologizing to him? He ain't leaving Bob Arum. He's already done that. I see this. I've seen it with my own eyes. Apologizing for Terrence Bud Crawford, but always got something polarizing to say about Spence. I've always seen it. After the Porter fight, oh, Spence need to do this. Spence need to do that. Well, shit. What happened after the fucking Mean Machine fight? Y'all didn't talk about how he got dropped by Mean Machine and got exposed? I didn't hear that shit. You know what I heard? Oh, Terrence Bud Crawford had a great performance. Isn't that what they said, Terrence Bud? Isn't that what they said, Tom Ross? He had a great performance. Yeah, he struggled, after he got, but look how he bounced back. They always got some shit to say about Bud to make Bud look more than what he is. Bud is not skillful like y'all think he is, man. And stop putting him on the same level with Floyd. That's like night and day. That's actually disrespectful.
It's disrespectful to Floyd to say that him and Floyd are on the same level. It is, man. When Floyd went up to 140, Floyd stopped the motherfucker and made him look like Floyd was a dude that was the 140 and the other guy was the one that came up. It looked like Arturo Gatti came up to fight Floyd when he fought Floyd. That's what it looked like. And Floyd didn't do no boxing in that fight. He stood right in front of Arturo Gatti and just beat him up. When you never seen Crawford have a performance like that.
No, even his performance with Gamboa, he was struggling.
He damn near got stopped. Gamboa damn near stopped Blood.
Yeah.
On accident.
Yeah, he just ran out of fucking gas.
He ran out of gas. he probably got excited because he probably didn't even realize that if he hit that he had the power to do that. Yeah. So he probably got excited and started throwing them things. It got tired.
Yeah.
He probably damn, get this motherfucker.
Check this out. Check this out, Ross. The last 5 fights that Spence fought, I always said, match up their last 5. Spence fights Danny Garcia. He fights Sean Porter. He fights Mikey Garcia. He fights fucking Lamont fucking Peterson. And he fights Ocampo. 4 out of 5 of those fights, 90 percentile.
All game.
Now, Terrence Bud Crawford fights Kell Brook. Spence leftover damage. He fights fucking Mean Machine. We already know that's a Marvel, a DC character. Shouldn't have fucking fought his ass. He fought fucking Amir Khan. We already know damage beyond repair. He fights fucking who else? He fights fucking what's that motherfucker's name? Jeff Horn. That was a guy who Bob Arum finessed Manny Pacquiao out of just to give him that fucking belt. Basically, Manny Pacquiao stayed getting screwed, but he stayed getting stuck so many different ways by Bob Arum. It's not even funny. And then here's the other caveat. He then goes to in 140 and fights Victor Postal. Come on, man. Don't get me started, man. Stop playing with me. And y'all gonna sit here and compare those last 5 fights?
The reason why they want Bud to be so good is because they want to stick it to Floyd. They want Bud to be so good because they want to say, because right now they're trying to say Bud is as skillful as Floyd without the accomplishments. That's what they're trying to say.
No.
They want him to be so good because they want to eventually say Bud better than Floyd. That's what they're saying. But guess who's gonna make sure they never get a chance to say that? Errol Spence.
Exactly.
Errol Spence gonna make sure they never get a chance to say no stupid shit like that because he go wash Bud.
Yeah. Wash his ass, man. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Gamboa is the reason why Terrence Crawford is bow-legged. I already said that. He made him bow-legged forever. If you look at Terrence Bud Crawford, he was a straight-legged individual. Gamboa landed a beautiful shot on him. He's been bow-legged ever since. Bud is not sturdy to take shots. And going back to what Tom Ross was saying, Errol Spence gives you accumulation of damage. Spence is not the extreme, right? He's not Gervonta Tank Davis. He's not Deontay Wilder. He's not the extreme in the power. But he's also not like how Floyd and Andre Ward is with Snappy. Spence is right in between all that. Because Spence throws shit at like a 75 to 85% damage rate. It ain't 100, but every time that shit land, it's mean fucking intentions. And it's accurate as hell. And that shit systematically breaks you down.
It's like 75% to the head, but it's like 100 to the body every time.
Yep.
He do a lot, and that's why his hands always going to be in good condition. Because he's not throwing all his power to your head, but he's throwing to the soft parts of your body. All his power goes to your shoulders, your arms, your chest, your back. Like he really hits you in those parts of your body that you feel for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying?
That's what Derek James said. Remember Derek James said? Even when it's shots that don't land, everything Spence throw at you, that shit hurt. It hurt. Even if it don't get past the guard, it hurt. That's why Mikey Garcia has aged to 200 fucking years old over fucking night. Because this tomato can that Mikey Garcia fought, he should have never lost to that motherfucker. Spence beat the living daylight out of him, dog.
He owes Spence at least $10,000 just off the bat. Like here, man.
Exactly.
Could I here, man? Go ahead, take this to Atlantic City, man, because you did me a solid. You watched that. All he had to do was come clean up the pound.
You know, everybody want to hit. Spence regressed his ass into an Uber, a Lyft, and a taxi.
No, you gotta listen. You gotta listen.
Taxi.
That's what happened.
A taxi Tijuana cab driver fighter, though. That motherfucker's a Tijuana cab driver fighter at this point, man. That's what he's been regressed to. He got beat up that bad. It's embarrassing the way he got beat up.
That's what happened, man. But you know what? You know what that comes from? Ricky Garcia was ducking. He ducked his way throughout his weight classes. And all his you gotta see how people win their belts, man. You gotta see how people they be so enamored with 3-belt unifications and all this. Who did the person beat to take the belts? You gotta be looking at that. A lot of these guys be winning vacant belts. A vacant belt is when the champion says, "Fuck this shit, fuck this belt." Then two motherfuckers that they decide they want to fight, get the chance to fight for the belt. The one guy probably be a mandatory. The other guy just be somebody they choose and they just get whooped for the belt, man.
Yep.
That's not real, man. That's not. That, I mean, it counts, but it's not real. Like Usyk did a lot of that when he won that light heavy cruiserweight. But I give him respect for taking Anthony Joshua shit. He get respect for that. Anthony Joshua is an Eastern champion.
Yep.
But Usyk beat a lot. He won a lot of vacant belts, and he earned my respect when he beat Joshua. But to them, I had no respect for Usyk. Fuck Usyk. Usyk, who he whoop. And that's how I look at Bud. Who Bud whooped when he made 140? When he unified at 140, who you whooped, man?
Well, to answer that question, Sade, I'm gonna let Ross answer it. Shit, I'm gonna digress.
What's worse, getting punished for 12 rounds or getting knocked out? He knows. If you get knocked out in the first round, it's least embarrassing. It could be more embarrassing getting knocked out, but it's better for your career if you get knocked out in the first round than it is to get punished for 12 straight rounds, man.
I'm not gonna lie. If Tank knock you out, it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. That's what I'm saying. It's embarrassing to get knocked out. Yes. But it's worse for your career to get punished for 12 straight rounds.
Facts.
Because he didn't say I'll box. He said punish. Punish means if I really want to, I can get you up out of here. But I'm just gonna just punish you. And when I see you about to tilt her, I'm gonna slow down so I can punish you some more. Ali did that shit against Ernie Terrell. He could have knocked Ernie Terrell out. He carried him so he could beat him up more and more and more. Floyd did that with he did that shit with old boy Conor McGregor. He could have knocked Conor McGregor and Gotti too. He could have knocked Conor McGregor out in like the 6th round. He carried him. Floyd was just
diabolical in that Gotti fight, man. I don't know. Floyd was just possessed. He beat Gotti up. That was probably, if I say the meanest version of Floyd Mayweather, that was the meanest version of Floyd. Floyd beat this man like he stole something, bro.
Gotti fans were some of the most racist. They were Italians. It was like saying Floyd was a monkey and the NIGGR. And Floyd took all that disrespect out of Gotti. And Gotti was talking slick too. Floyd was disrespected from the whole fight. He came in as a Roman general. Disrespected all the Italians in there. Then he missed the beating the shit out of Gotti. Now that type of fight right there, the way Floyd did it, that's worse than a 12-round punishment and a knockout. Because he punished him, then he got the TKO.
Facts.
Gotti was never the same after that, man.
Never the fucking same. Never the same. Armani, to answer your question, he's with Ronnie Shields. I'm okay with that. I think Ronnie Shields is gonna have him right. Anthony Joshua is gonna be with a trainer that's gonna have him looking good. See, if Jogba fucked up and stopped training with Ronnie Shields, and you see how his last fight turned out, I think he's in good hands with Ronnie Shields, if you ask me. But if there's anybody that I would prefer over Ronnie Shields, there's two people: Floyd and fucking Derrick James. And Derrick James. Those are the only two people I prefer over, because I know Derrick James he'll have Anthony Joshua as an unlimited pressure heavyweight. We've never seen a heavyweight giving you unlimited pressure of damage. That's how Derrick James will have.
Nah, Floyd don't need to go to Robert Garcia, man. Robert Garcia lose all his big fights. What are you talking about? Floyd don't need to go to Robert Garcia or Kenny Porter, man. Do y'all niggas watch boxing? They always losing.
Nah. Sade, hell nah. With Robert Garcia, hell nah. Hell nah. AJ don't need to go no damn Robert Garcia. Hell nah. You see how Mikey Garcia career turned out? No. Let's not do that.
Lose all his big fights, man.
Yeah, Robert Garcia listening to Peter Garcia, man. You named his son Peter, fucking Peter Bread, listening to him. That's why Mikey Garcia is damaged forever. No.
And Kenny Porter, come on, man. Kenny
Porter, hell no. Hell no. Armani,
no, man, he need to go to he in the right hands of Ronnie Shields.
Yep.
He in the right hands of Ronnie Shields.
Yep.
He can, a lot of people, they're not taking they're not asking Lennox Lewis for no advice. I don't know why. Lennox Lewis was the greatest who ever did it.
Yep, and I mentioned Lennox Lewis too. Yeah.
He could go to Lennox, or he could think about Floyd. Floyd is a little smarter than his father. His father tried to teach everybody the shoulder roll. You can't do shoulder roll in heavyweight boxing because heavyweight is hard enough to dislocate your shoulder.
Exactly.
But Floyd teach you the high guard. He can teach you shit that you can actually use in a heavyweight fight. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
Floyd Mayweather saying we'll have your ass sharper, but you just ain't gonna be able to do that shoulder roll in a heavyweight fight. But you're not gonna be able to do it. He could go to Ronnie Shields. He could go to George Foreman. He could go to Lennox Lewis. But he can't, man. Hell no. Robert Garcia go get him whooped. Robert Garcia go get him to where he ain't gonna be the same no more. Somebody gonna be beating the shot out of him. He ain't gonna throw in the flag.
Yeah, Monty, they didn't make it official yet, but it was put out there. The news was put out that AJ reached out to Ronnie Shields through the Charlos. He reached out to Jamal Charlo and he asked, if Ronnie Shields could be his trainer, and they've spoken. Now they haven't gone into like an exclusive contract or anything like that, but there's traction. And I think it's because AJ's realizing that being over there in that bullshit across the pond, UK, is not helping his boxing career. See, Lennox Lewis, the reason why he is a phenomenal UK fighter is because Lennox Lewis got an American trainer, Emmanuel Stewart. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get your ass an American trainer if you want to be phenomenal. And Tom Ross is right. I don't know why they're not seeking out Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was the real lineal heavyweight championship, not something put on him like Tyson Fury. He was the real shit.
We still don't have a lineal heavyweight champion. People, I can break that down. I can break that down if y'all want me to. But
yes, because the last lineal is Lennox Lewis.
And he retired.
That's it. Yep.
So we won't have a new one until they make an undisputed champion. Then the lineage starts over. We don't have a. Yeah.
Ronnie Shields will fix his fucking conditioning and make him more aggressive, man. I mean, just look at Jamal Charlo and look at Efe Ajagba. But Efe Ajagba, the reason why he lost his last fight, he's no longer working with Ronnie Shields. I don't know why that happened. I got to go do research on that shit. But he looked his worst after not working with that dude.
Right now, what Anthony Joshua problem is? What Anthony Joshua problem is? He's not getting no real work in sparring. If you get real work in sparring, you're gonna learn how to deal with being hurt.
Facts.
In a heavyweight fight, a good fight, you gonna get hurt. You have to recover. Every time you get hurt, it's over with.
Yep.
You can't get hurt and it be over with. If I'll tell you this right now, if Deontay Wilder could box like Anthony Joshua, if Anthony Joshua had a heart Deontay Wilder have, you will have a indestructible fighter.
Yep.
Because what hurts Deontay Wilder is he get winded.
Yep.
He get up. He got up after the last brutal punch. If you count, he still got up before 10 seconds. They just waited to fight him.
Yep.
But Anthony Joshua cannot take no punishment. That's because he's not sparring. He ain't sparring.
And you know what? The great American heavyweights, Tom Ross, they back in the day with Tyson and Lennox Lewis in them and George Foreman in them, they used to get knocked out in sparring.
Yeah.
This was a normal thing. Mike Tyson would get knocked out. Lennox Lewis would get knocked out. George Foreman, it was normal. It was fucking normal for them to get knocked out in sparring. So that way, when they fought the actual fight, they could take hard punches.
Right. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's the problem, man. He's not sparring hard enough. And that was the same problem with Anthony Yardy. But Anthony Yardy put up a valiant effort.
Yep.
I still don't talk shit about Anthony Yardy with that loss to Kovalev because he damn near stopped Kovalev, man. He ran out of time.
Yeah, he just didn't fucking spar. His dumb ass. He should have sparred.
His trainer telling him he don't gotta spar.
Yep.
Bro, you gotta spar, man. When you fighting with the upper echelon, you gotta spar. And that fight let me know that Kovalev didn't put his best effort against Canelo. Because Kovalev was hard as hell. Kovalev was about to get his stop, and he dropped Anthony Yardy with the jab. A good, nice, strong power jab. Where was that shit when he fought Canelo? Where was that shit? All of a sudden, you can't take Canelo punches? Anthony Yardy is way harder than Canelo.
Man, Sergey Kovalev was holding, and even then, a concussed Sergey Kovalev, you looked at the fight, he was holding his fist. He wasn't even trying to throw punches. because he has the reach advantage, he has the height advantage, he has everything, he has the power. He was just holding shit and just kind of like, okay, Canelo, just tell me where to leave my face so that you can go ahead and hit the peripheral and then knock me out. That's what I was seeing, man.
That fight was
Let
staged.
me know when you're ready. Give me the signal. Let me know when you're ready.
That fight was staged, bro.
Yep.
And I hate to be the one that always trying to bring controversy, but I'm gonna speak with my heart telling me to say, man, and I'm gonna use my logic to make sense of it.
Yep.
I'm watching him against him against Ward. I'm watching him against Yardy, and this is years after Ward. I see that he got some that heart back, some of that grit back. And then after that fight, I see that he has so many disadvantages going into the fight. Not a true training camp. And then even then, he's not even letting his right hand go. In the fight. He threw his right hand maybe 10 times in the whole fight. And we know all Crawford will do nothing else. He throw the right hand. Like, come on, man. Like, yo, this is the reason why I can never respect Canelo. I don't care what he do. I'm never gonna show him the respect that people think he deserves. Just because he's been afforded so many amenities, man.
For those that weren't listening before, he needs to beat 3 people back to back, and he needs to beat them definitive for me to start giving respect. Because he's fought so many duds, he got to do that. He got to beat a Jamal Charlo definitive. He got to beat a Demetrius Andrade definitive, and he has to beat a David Benavidez definitive. He does that, Canelo Alvarez finally gets my respect. Yep. Outside of that, I can't see what these people are seeing with this guy. I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't.
People like to be on the right side of the media, man. You think about it, because to them, the media is they're the resident experts. Not knowing they speak narratives.
Yep.
Any sports media, if you look into what they're saying, there ain't no logic behind it. It's just a story. It's just a story.
Facts.
These are look in our eyes and tell us that Pacquiao better than Mayweather. So you should know, going off of that everything they say is just a fucking story. And when it comes to Canelo, it's one of the biggest stories they ever contrived, man. That Canelo is a pound for pound great fighter. That's a story, man. Because whenever you're a pound for pound great fighter, you are able to start demanding those pay-per-view numbers. Canelo is never able to demand that. Never. If Floyd Mayweather would have went to DAZN and followed DAZN, did you know DAZN would have been the top sports app? If you was a real king cow, he could have changed the way boxing even did. Boxing would have had to go to apps.
Exactly.
The reason why boxing had to come back to pay-per-view because Floyd Mayweather said, bring y'all ass back here. Errol Spence said, bring y'all ass back here. He did not have the cliche. He did not have the cachet to change the sport that direction. Canelo went to the apps and everybody just abandoned him. Said, man, fuck your fights. We ain't watching that shit. We ain't downloading that stupid ass app to watch your fight. You know what I'm saying? And his shit started tanking. His career been in the dumps ever since then. Because people know what they're watching. Even his Mexican families, as much as they take up for Canelo, they know that he's not that dude because they don't support him.
Yep.
Chavez is getting supported by the Mexican fan base. Sellout fights, man. They don't support Canelo because they know he ain't fighting no fucking body, man. They support him on the message boards. They all in your comments calling you N-words and shit because you don't like Canelo. But when it comes out of their money, they ain't paying for that shit. Because they know Canelo's not fighting nobody, bro.
Yep.
They know that.
Yep.
The cash cows right now, the faces about Errol Spence is a major. Tank Davis.
Yep.
Deontay Wilder just lost his footing.
Yep, he lost it. He lost that. Man, he lost that shit since the second fight, dog. Shit.
He lost his footing, but he was one of them too. He's supposed
He's
supposed to keep that.
And the Charlos, people sleeping on the Charlos. The Charlos be pulling in 200-300 pay-per-views.
I'm not sleeping on the Charlos. I love the Charlos, and Jamal Charlos being held back by boxing. Jamel Charlo was making me lose the respect I should have for Jamel Charlo and I
Yeah.
don't like how he's handling himself outside of the ring.
Facts.
He's
Facts.
doing shit trying to appease the white and Mexican fan base, talking
Yep.
down on his own people, talking down.
Yep.
If you got a problem with Wilder, you got Wilder's number. Everybody got each other's number. Why you don't text him, man? Why you saying that shit on his live? Why the fuck is you saying? So why is you saying that? And why you talking down on your own flesh and blood? And why you talking down on Mayweather? Mayweather retired, man. Why you doing all this? It's only one reason. You want the Mexican and the white fan base.
Yeah. And he's jealous. He low key. Well, he's made it open key now, but at that time it was low key. I think he was jealous of Jamal Charlo because Jamal Charlo's still undefeated, and Jamal Charlo has not been in controversial fights outside of what people want to say Korobov, but that wasn't no controversial fight. He still pulled through and won that fucking fight, and he dictated the pace. And he dictated the pace. So to me, that wasn't controversy. I just felt like he just outpointed him. But his brother Jamel has been in controversial fights where he's lost, and he had to regain himself and restructure himself. And I mean, the Tony Harrison fight technically he didn't lose, but still, you know how it is with boxing. That's never happened with Jamal Charlo. And then the fact that he tried to call Jamal Charlo out.
Yeah.
The fact that he tried to call Jamal Charlo out against Canelo. Jamal Charlo, and that's why I kind of squealed when boxing fans was trying to then say because he won lineal, Jamel is I rank him over Earl Spence, or he's better than Earl Spence, or this, and I was sitting there laughing my ass off. Spence is the reason why Jamal Charlo is on another level. It's because of the training he's getting from fucking Spence and fucking Derek James. So stop the bullshit. The bottom line is,
first of all, I don't think Jamal Charlo could beat Spence the day fall.
No,
so,
he can't.
But the thing is, we'll never know because they're probably never gonna fight each other. But they fight enough for sparring. But I don't think he'll beat Spence because he has mental lapse. Spence don't. When you see Spence in a fight with a mental lapse,
nope, never.
This is the reason why people don't realize this. Say what you want about Floyd Mayweather Jr., but if you work with Floyd, it will prepare you for the next level. Errol Spence said he knew he was ready for any prime time fight because he was able to hold his own with Floyd Mayweather Jr. And he said he learned so much from that sparring. That's because he done led with his ego. His ego wasn't broken. Anything he didn't know, he learned. He didn't leave that shit like, damn, I gave Floyd some good work, but man, he did some shit that, man, he left that shit like, damn, man, okay, I learned this. Floyd did this. That means you're supposed to do. He learned some shit. It was like a Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan moment.
There you go.
And that shit just made him sharper. So he left that shit like, damn, okay. I have my own. I pushed Floyd. That means I can whoop anybody.
Yeah. What actually happened? What actually they supposedly said happened with Canelo was actually what happened with Earl. That's the difference. See, Earl learned from that experience and actually is who he is now. Canelo didn't. Canelo's stagnant. That's the difference. And nobody can tell me otherwise.
A healthy Floyd, a healthy Errol Spence, no injury will wash Canelo. Probably stop.
Facts, no. Facts. It'll wash his ass, no.
This is the reason why I say that.
Wash him, no.
The reason why I say that is because my little brother was living in Vegas at the time, and was invited to somebody he knew to see the sparring, and he said shit like it was a real boxing match. And he said it was going back and forth. And he said Floyd was landing the cleaning blows. He said Errol Spence was landing the thudding blows. And he said they was thumping. He said it was like Maidana, Floyd, but he said, but imagine Maidana actually landing the punches. And he said Floyd, he said before he didn't even like Floyd. But he said he had so much respect because Floyd was taking solid punches by somebody, because he said Spence was way bigger than Floyd Mayweather Jr. He said he ain't no Spence was that big. He said Floyd was eating solid punches. It's sparring. He said, man, it's not like he said Floyd in sparring, it's not like what you see Floyd in the boxing. He said Floyd don't move around in sparring, he thump.
Yeah, he just stayed there.
He was in there thumping with a big ass Errol Spence. So that lets me know this. That lets me know what number one, Floyd is even more greater than what I thought he was, and let me know Errol Spence is more greater than what people know. It lets me know that if Floyd was able to walk through Canelo, do whatever he wanted, and smaller than Canelo, Spence would be just as big as Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
It hit harder for longer than Floyd because he got healthier hands, so he might stop Canelo, man, on an even playing field, no Cambuterol. So don't be surprised if that happens. But me personally, I want that fight to happen unless he got to fight Charlo first, man. And I love Errol Spence. I want Errol Spence to have a blockbuster fight, but not the Spence of Charlo not getting his just due. I want Charlo to get his just due, man. Because people talk so much shit about Jamal Charlo.
Yeah, Jamal Charlo really,
he's the real
Jamal
deal.
Charlo's the real deal, dog. Out of the Charlo brothers, I've said it because I look at mindset. He's the real fucking deal, man. Between the two, he's more tempered, he's more level-headed, and that motherfucker can fight. There's a reason why Canelo's ducking that dude. That motherfucker can fight, and he gets better with every fight. This is when I know Jamal Charlo was legit. Bernard Hopkins has the utmost respect for Jamal Charlo. And he told Canelo to his face, this motherfucker right here will give you problems like you've never seen problems before. He told him that. He said, this is for real. And then Canelo's trainer called Jamal Charlo a great fighter. And he said, this would be a great fight for the sport of boxing. So that tells you every fucking thing you need to know about Jamal Charlo. Y'all sitting here. Now go ahead.
Punch. Tank Davis do it too, but Jamal Charlo to me, Jamal Charlo do it a little better. He has that counter. It's a counter uppercut, man. Do you know what that do to you? When you not expecting to get hit, when you get hit with an uppercut, bro.
Just ask J-Rock.
Tank Davis, you see Tank Davis setting the shit up. Tank Davis has no respect for the people he fighting. You see him do it. He do it over and over again. Tank Davis, Tank Davis be fighting like how you control it. How you control the right you? He just keep doing. Oh, you get to you finally hit him, motherfucker. That's how Tank Davis be fighting, with no disrespect, with no respect. But when Charlo do it, you don't see it coming. You just see a nigga, they neck to snap back, man. Tank Davis be so disrespectful.
I'm glad you mentioned Tank. Tank don't got no respect for these Mexican fighters. Tank always look at them to their face like he did Raleigh Polly and said, "I'm knocking your ass out."
You know what? I can't wait for Rolly to get beat up because, to me, first of all, Rolly disrespects boxing. He has not perfected his craft. You got Floyd Mayweather at your fingertips, not using.
Yep.
Floyd Mayweather done laced up and brought Justin Bieber in the ring and showed him how to do jabs, man. Floyd Mayweather loves boxing. He'll teach anybody if you want to learn. So you got Floyd Mayweather at your fingertips, not using. I hope you get the shit out of you.
I want him to be the best knockout reel that Gervonta Tank Davis ever. I want Gervonta Tank Davis to do the Mike Tyson. You know how Mike Tyson, I forgot who it was that Mike Tyson fought, but Mike Tyson landed the knockout blow, and as the motherfucker was going down, he gave him one more to make sure he gave him one more.
He did a lot. I think that's Trevor Berger. I think
there you go. He gave him one more. I want that kind of knockout. I want the uppercut and then one more as you going down, though.
Me personally, I don't want him to. I want him to beat him in the first round. I want him to. I want him to make that shit last for at least 6 or 7 rounds, and then just put him out of misery. Because thing is, Rolly's doing a lot of disrespectful shit. Him and Teofimo Lopez. I want to take
Teofimo Lopez. Yep.
Because they always trying to emasculate black men. Like they doing gay shit. Like they made Tank Davis put on a dress and was like, and then cuss a dummy and say he a fag. I don't like that, man.
Well, you know why Tank decided to fight him. Tank is doing that as a prelude. It's a message he's sending to Teofimo Lopez.
Right,
he's first.
That's
next.
That's his homie. That's his homie. You know what I'm saying? He gonna beat the hell out of dude.
Yep.
Man, Romero was supposed to win the last fight he was in. What people don't understand.
Exactly. They just gave it to him. You know why they gave him that fight? Because They gave him that fight because of Mayweather's cachet, dog. They didn't want a loss on the Mayweather promotion. I honestly believe that,
right.
dog.
And they want to keep him alive fish for Tank to go in the spear. Because in Alaska they be spearing shit.
Exactly. And I'm gonna tell you like this. Just like you just said, they spear shit in Alaska. I'm gonna tell you like this. Once Tank knocks out the roly poly, we're not gonna see people like this. They mentally are weak. We're not gonna see him for a long while. You probably might go a year. You don't see this guy because his ego is gonna be extremely fucking bruised. He's gonna be the laughing stock. He's probably gonna quit the Mayweather gym, dog. I'm telling you this shit right now.
It's gonna be just like when Errol Spence beat the shot of Mikey. Mikey was
Yep.
MIA for like 8.5 months. They try to say Spence had no power. When Mikey came back on the scene, Mikey wasn't even enunciating words the same.
Man, I saw him on that fight hype video. That shit made me like.
He sounded like Larry Holmes.
Yeah.
He sounded like Larry Holmes.
You could tell he was suffering CTE, dog. You could tell. He delayed speech. This motherfucker probably was pissing fucking Amber, and his woman was looking at him like, "Hey, look at here, man. It's day 26.
You need to get your shit
if you don't fuck me after day 27, I'm gonna go out there and go fuck somebody else. Because I can't be sitting here 26 days. I ain't getting no ass. And you ain't giving me nothing." That's what happened. Spence fucked him up bad. He couldn't do nothing.
But here's another thing that Spence will get credit for. Spence fucked up Sean Porter too, man.
Yep.
And they was trying to hide it. The camera.
Yep.
I was in TV production. I was in TV production when I was in high school, my junior year. The camera they were shooting Sean Porter from his waist up. And it got to the point where he was coming down the stairs. He started coming down the stairs gingerly, and they moved away.
You saw that too.
Right, they moved away, and when they came back, he was being supported, I think, by his dad, and they were shooting his face. But after that, he wouldn't walk anymore, because normally they walk and they talk. They walk and they talk all the way out. He wouldn't walk while they were filming him.
Yep.
The motherfucker was barely able to walk after fighting
Barely. And a lot of these dumb-dumbs, Tom Ross, don't understand. Spence did what Floyd did with Marcus Maidana the first fight. Floyd wanted to show fight fans that, you know what, y'all motherfuckers always say I'm dancing. I'm going to stand right here with this motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's what Earl Spence did with Sean Porter. He wanted to prove, I'm going to beat you at phone booth. He stayed right there and phone boothed it out with him. But you guys have to understand, Spence beat the living snot out of Sean Porter. That 11th round proved it, because Sean Porter was so beat up that his guard went down and Spence hit them with a clean shot, dog. It was just so many body shots that a lot of people don't catch. And because body shots are not as visible as headshots, when you throw the body shots consistently over and over and over again, a lot of times, especially the angles that Spence throw it, the camera's not going to quickly see it from the naked eye. But where you're going to know that those body shots have created an accumulation of punishment is you just watch the fighter as the rounds go on. The fighter is going to be systematically broken down. Sean Porter putting his guard down in the 11th round didn't come off the fact that he was sloppy. No, it came off the fact that his body was getting beat up. His guts was getting beat in.
Yep.
So because of that, he was draining. And this is what people don't understand. Go look at Sean Porter the next day with Max Kellerman. He was bloated. That's what I was trying to tell you. He had immediate bloated trauma. It was instant. And if you look at Sean Porter after Spence and before Spence, Sean Porter has permanent bloated trauma. Permanent. His body looked extra bloated.
Yeah, man.
I'm just keeping it real. He looked extra bloated because of the fact that this is a punisher, man. That motherfucker will punish you. Now, I wanted to address one thing that Amani said, and we're going to get up out of here, man. Amani said Devin Haney learned from sparring with Floyd, too. That's why he would whoop Ryan and Teofimo, but not Tank. I'm going to tell you this right now.
He'll whoop Ryan.
I got Devin Haney beating Ryan. I got that. But Teofimo Lopez, I don't know. Because, and the reason why I say I don't know, is because Devin Haney basically, you know how when somebody flirts with something, he's flirted with training with Floyd. It's not like Javante Tank Davis was consistent. It's a flirting. So because of that, he's not really crispy. If Devin Haney is constantly bending the proverbial fucking knee and kissing the ring to Floyd and staying up on the Floyd the whole time, he'd be crispier than a fucking three-piece. Go look at when he was with Senior. He was crispier than a fucking three-piece. And at Senior age, he should have transitioned to Floyd. He should have told his dad, "Fuck you, I'm staying right here because this is why I'm staying crispy." But nah, Devin Haney started getting it all head blown up and shit like that. His skills have basically declined. Where you want to start seeing the skills decline is in the Alfredo Santiago fight. People don't go back and watch that fight. Go back and watch it. Alfredo Santiago is a counterpuncher. He was landing so many counterpunching shots on Devin Haney, it wasn't even funny. If Devin Haney was with Floyd in them, shoulder rolling like a motherfucker and being basically sharp, them counterpunches wouldn't have landed. And ever since then, he's been getting exposed. The Gamboa fight, he had the worst of the three. And Terrence Bud Crawford got stanky leg. He looked even worse against Gamboa. And this is a Gamboa that was way fucking age past. And then the Jorge Linares fight where Jorge Linares dropped his ass. Devin Haney's been getting worse and worse and worse. See, y'all motherfuckers are falling for the bullshit. He's not better. He's worse. Anytime you stagnant means you getting worse.
The reason why people like Devin Haney so much is he come off as a nice guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
He got a nice smile. He come off as a nice guy. And people, they fall in love with the character, and they realize this is boxing, bro. Who gives somebody nice? Who cares? It don't matter if they're nice or they're a good person. You talk about skills, and when it comes to skills, I don't know. He should be able to win Teofimo Lopez. He's taller than him. He got better boxing skills, but he be getting caught. And if he get caught by Teofimo Lopez could finish him.
Yep.
One thing he has shown,
got that power.
Teofimo Lopez has shown, if I catch you, I will finish you. He do that. If he catch you, if he hurts you,
it's over. It's over.
You know,
as much flack, and you know that about me, Ross. As much flack as I give Teofimo, I always said that. Don't let him catch you. Don't let him fucking catch you.
That's it. He can punch. He can punch. That's the reason we should not even be. If Haney was on the shit, we shouldn't have no reservations about that.
Yeah, and then Tank, don't even mention Tank. Tank is so many leagues above all these guys. People don't want to accept it, but it's a fact. Tank would treat Devin Haney like he treat Leo Santa Cruz. I'm being honest with you. Tank will play with him. Tank will probably throw the same uppercut every fucking round on his ass. And just to see, okay, let me time it so it can land. That's what he would do every round against Devin Haney. That's how much respect he ain't got for Devin Haney.
Even if all these guys were on the same skill level, Tank would still be better because Tank is tougher than them. Tank got a stronger mentality than them, man. The only thing Tank needed was the discipline. Once Floyd finally convinced him he needed to be more disciplined, and it took a while. It took him being embarrassed on scales a couple of times. Floyd finally convinced him you need to be a little more disciplined. That was the last piece of the puzzle. This guy went through a lot of shit. Cause I went through the shit that Tank Davis went through. So I know I'm more mentally stronger than most people. I just don't like to brag about it because I like to build people up. I don't like to tear them down. But I know I'm more mentally stronger than most people. Tank done been through foster care. He done seen best friends get murdered. He live in Baltimore City, one of the worst cities there is in the United States. He done lived in abandoned buildings. He done been through a lot of shit. This boxing shit ain't nothing to him. You catch Tank, even if you somehow drop Tank, the fight just got worse for you. It ain't easier for you, man. This dude is really tough. If the level was the same, he would still be better. But he got more skills than these guys. People don't give Tank his respect for his boxing skill. Tank the box, man. He could box. Leo Santa Cruz beat the hell out of everybody he fight for the most part. He look easy. Easy. Isn't on Santa Cruz a 4-belt champion? 4-weight class champion? He look like a 4-weight class champion fighter. against Tank? Hell no.
Yep.
Like, he just
No,
started.
nope. And here's the thing: Teofimo Lopez, honestly, is not gonna do great at 140. To answer your question, Amani, to me at this point is the WBA. The fact that they trying to screw Al Heyman out of not having the Spence versus Ugas fight, WBA is the worst right now in terms of section and body because of that shit.
I like the
So
IBF. I like the IBF the most.
yeah,
I think the WBC is the most prestigious, but it's dirty as well.
yeah, they all dirty as hell, but I'm giving WBA the nod because what they trying to do to Al Heyman, they trying to screw Al Heyman bad, man. They trying to screw him bad, and I don't like that shit. They trying to fuck up Spence versus
They learn
Ugas.
from the WBC. The WBC tried to do it and they lost. Now the
Yeah.
WBA, they think they gonna have a better plan. They gonna lose too.
And I'm gonna tell you like this. Me and Ross predicted that shit, though. I don't know if the fight already started, but we predicted that shit. We said Shakur Stevenson out of the crop. And look, you see the difference between him and Devin Haney? Shakur Stevenson is in a championship fight right now. And I like what he did at the presser. I know you saw that shit, Ross. He grabbed that motherfucker's belt and he said that shit coming back. He said shit coming back. I like Shakur Stevenson because Shakur Stevenson is not just talking. There's action that's corresponding behind the talk. He's getting the fights. He's stepping in the ring to fight these guys. And he's not sitting there and just making it a fucking social media thing. It's an actual fight. This fight right here was going to propel Shakur Stevenson at 130. He gets the W, man, because he'll be beating up a quality opponent. And now y'all motherfuckers need to revise that young crop once again. I have Javante Tank Davidson number 1. I'm gonna have him at number 2.
Here's another thing. Herring is a game opponent, so he gotta win this fight.
Yep.
Because he don't. It's like in boxing, we don't get the same leeway as any other race if they lose. If Shakur Stevenson lose, they start questioning his whole existence in boxing.
Yeah.
Whereas if his whole boxing lose, they say he a warrior and he put up a valiant effort. Shakur Stevenson got to win this fight, or else niggas gonna come for his head.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you said that, man. I'm glad you fucking said that.
Because when guys, I got Tank, that's Shakur Stevenson.
Oh, okay. So you got your top 5. What was your top 5 again?
I got Tank. I got Tank and Shakur Stevenson at the top, and the other guys. To me, none of them really did anything. I got Ryan Garcia at the very bottom.
Yeah.
And
I think it's their names, bro.
I guess you could put Teofimo Lopez over Devin Haney because he got the 3 belts.
Yeah.
But as far as skill wise, they ain't like this. But yeah. So I guess all things considered, I got Tank, and I probably got Shakur Stevens so high off skill. They're probably not respectful to Teofimo Lopez, but I don't care. I got Tank, Shakur, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, and Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, just listen to their names. Their names tell you they're powerful. Tank, that's a powerful name. Shakur, like Tupac Shakur, that shit powerful. Devin, that shit sound gay as fuck. Let's keep it real.
Devin sounds like somebody you can snatch this girl right in front of him.
Exactly. Teofimo, who the fuck is Teofimo? And Ryan, don't get me started. You see, the names just tell you off rip who's gonna be what. It just tell you that shit. Who's gonna be what? And last time I checked, Shakur Stevenson has a test your temperature fight. Real talk. He gets the job done and he beats Jamel Herring definitively. Y'all gonna have to start putting respect on Shakur Stevenson's name. I don't even want to hear Devin Haney no more. I want to be hearing Shakur out your motherfucking mouths. That's just facts. Because Devin Haney had an opportunity to run his mouth with Teofimo Lopez, and what I told y'all was gonna happen. It was gonna be all fucking talk. And what happened? It was all fucking talk. Did they sign a contract? Do they have a fight? This is what's tripping me out about how these two have ruined 135. They have the opportunity to bring all the belts under one champion, and they sitting here playing games.
It's Bob, bro, because before Teofimo was doing it and he doing it, who else was doing it? Loma was doing the same shit. Not wanting to fight motherfuckers. He got put in a position where he had to fight because he couldn't move to 140.
Yep.
If he could have moved to 140, he would have fought none of these motherfuckers.
He would have fought. Yeah, he would have moved up. He would have moved up and started all over from scratch.
He said, "Damn, who's the person that's gonna give me least of the ass with the?" So he showed Teofimo Lopez. He know he would have showed his tank. It would have been bad for him.
Yeah. And see, y'all motherfuckers can see that shit. I don't give two flying fucks about Vasily Lomachenko. It was just in that fucking fight with Teofimo Lopez. Ross had Teofimo Lopez winning. I had Vasily winning. Whatever. That fight is so close. That fight is so close. If Teofimo's that good, run that shit back, man. Teofimo Lopez has been constantly proving since he won the belt that he don't want to fight nothing. He don't want to have no fights. Right. At worst, the Lomachenko fight should have been on his radar. At best, Devin Haney. He's not even trying to fight George Kambosos Jr. I mean, Teofimo Lopez is a joke. He's a fucking joke.
Bruce Ennis is at 147. Like, and fellas, I need y'all to really understand. Granted, Bruce Ennis is more skilled than Teofimo Lopez, but you can't really compare people at 147 and people at 130 and people. Even if Teofimo Lopez was better than Boots, he wouldn't be able to beat Boots because Boots so much powerful than him. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta watch how y'all comparing these guys. But back to what
because they're different weight classes.
And back to what Heknows is saying. What Heknows is saying is true. At first, I said fuck Lomachenko because Lomachenko wasn't going to give him no rematch. But if you're not going to fight nobody else, you might as well fight Lomachenko.
Yeah. Why not?
So if you're not going to fight Lomachenko, then you got to fight who? Haney? And you got to fight Tank. You can't not fight Lomachenko and fight nobody else either.
Exactly.
Because when
we have a fucking problem.
Now you're holding up.
Then we have a problem. We have a problem now. Because now you holding shit up.
I can see him saying fuck Loma because Loma said fuck him because Loma said nah, wait, I ain't giving you no rematch. But now
and that's fine. But then at least fight Haney. At least fight Haney or fight Tank. I mean, come on. At least fight one of them.
He's not doing it.
He's not doing that. And then I'm gonna be honest with you. I honestly think that Kambosos guy, the first time around, the second time around, I can't read the temperature, but the first time around, I think Kambosos was gonna upset him. I honestly believe that shit. The temperature felt like that.
I think Kambosos have no respect for Teofimo Lopez, and I think since he was Manny Pacquiao's sparring partner for so long, I think he knows he can take Teofimo's power, and I think Teofimo knows that as well, and he's not too quick to fight him.
Yep.
He's not too quick to fight him.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he upsets him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. And if he does,
that changes everything.
That's gonna come to bring his whole career in question.
That's gonna put him on suicide watch.
It's gonna bring his whole career into question because that was gonna be like, oh, now we see why you ain't want to fight Tank and why you always talking. What's Tank gonna fight? Well, Tank gonna fight in the counter. The Teofimo was like, man, I'm trying to fight Tank. Tank keeps ducking me. People got to realize when somebody calls somebody out. Boxing it's not like football and baseball and basketball where the schedule is made. You just got to play against the schedule. Boxers make their own schedules. So if they already got a fight schedule, they can't respond to your call out.
Exactly.
Think about it. They got to train for this fight. So they can't say, all right, you calling me out, let me fight you real fast. That ain't how it works.
Exactly.
So that those call outs don't really mean what y'all thinking mean. It only means something the guy you calling out don't have nothing scheduled. There's no reason why he can't fight you.
Yeah.
Like Charlo and Andre calling out Canelo are real call outs. First of all, they were mandatories. There was champions, his peers, and Canelo didn't have any fights lined up. So he just ducked them.
And Canelo can make 160. I don't care what nobody tell me. He's just trying not to.
If Floyd Mayweather said, I'll fight Canelo right now at 154 for $100 million, Canelo would do it. He'll come all the way down to 154 and fight Floyd. So it's all about if he want to do it or not. He's a fucking liar. I have no respect for Canelo, man. at all.
None, because he knows the
No.
Lions, dog. You don't want to fight them. But all right, Ross, man. Any last words, dog?
Man, we done said enough, man. You know what I'm saying? Once again, you know how it is when we get together, man.
Mm-hmm.
Set this shit ablaze, you know what I'm saying?
Good.
No last words, and thanks for coming out. Make sure you catch up with HeKnows and Tom Ross TV, our videos. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? We have a very unique way of seeing things in popular sports and popular media. Just check us out.
Yep, that's what's up, man. Tom Ross TV, man. Salute to you for showing up and showing out and breaking down the boxing wisdom, knowledge, and understanding for them to get it. Make sure you guys subscribe to the brother's channel. Y'all, hey, those that are new to the platform, hit the subscription button, comment, like, and share. And make sure you guys give your Sunday's best to both platforms, man, and donate, man, because we work hard. We out here consistently pushing out content. So we just hope you guys can continue to support us, support the drive, support the rarity, and support the uniqueness that we keep bringing with each video. We don't see things status quo. We see things in our own unique way, and however we're feeling, that's where we're gonna go. Even if it's not popular demand, I mean, we're always cutting against the grain. That's just naturally the way we are. And if we are within the grain, which is extremely rare, but if we are, then you're still gonna get a unique point of view that is interwoven in that grain in of itself. It's not gonna be like everybody else because there's always something going on that's off kilter, and that's not making sense. And we're always going to point that out. We're not always going to just go by, oh, this person is this way or this person's that way. No, we're always going to point out the issues and then the solutions that come behind the issues. Now, whether these fighters choose to run with those solutions, that's on them. Whether they choose to make the adjustments, that's on them. But we're always going to point out what we see in each and every scenario. Like we just did with Shakur Stevenson and Jamel Herring, we made it very clear. This is a test your temperature fight for Shakur Stevenson. This is going to be a hard fight for him. But if he can prevail past this, these are the types of defining moments in a fighter's career that propels them to the next level and gets them where they need to be at from a boxing standpoint. And this is what we want. We want all of these fighters that are running their mouths to corresponding action behind running their mouths, and not just running their mouths for the sake of running their mouths. Because at the end of the day, we want fights so that we as fight fans can watch it, we can comment about it, talk about it, break it down, and move on to the next fucking fight. I mean, it's really simple. At the end of the day, they're fighters, and their responsibility is to give us fucking fights. And we're going to hold them accountable if we don't get the fucking fights that we want. So salute to everyone that stayed on, throughout this live the whole time. We appreciate you guys, and we're gonna bring you guys another live, the next following time when we get up. So y'all be easy. Tom Ross, you take care. Enjoy your Saturday. Everyone in the chat, y'all take care. Enjoy y'all Saturday. Peace.
Peace.